Oh my god, I just now realized that this song is playing. And it played the whole way through. I was like, I read the chat and I was like, who's Dale? But you were saying Dale. Oh my god. Who is Dale? Okay, anyway. Hi chat. So, are you guys gonna explain to me who Dale is or what? No? Okay. I may have smoked a little bit before stream today, so I'm not gonna be very good at conversation. Yeah. But you know what I am gonna be good at is watching videos. I'm so fucking good at that. I'm the best video watcher. I'm the best video watcher ever. Okay? I'll watch the fuck out of the videos. Jail is related to Joe. Are you gonna try to get me to say who's Joe and then say Joe Mama? Because wow. I'm not that dumb. I'm actually not that dumb. Okay. Speaking of dumb people, I know I usually don't react to TikToks, but I'm gonna do this one. Because I saw it like actually right before I started stream. This one is, it's so dumb. Bad gateway. What? Oh, because it's a mobile link. What the flip? Oh my god, I can't open it. I can only open it on my phone. Oh, of course it's from the owner of the right stuff. What the fuck is his name again? Hold on. Oh, well, it's funded by Peter Thiel. But I don't think the guy in the videos is Peter Thiel. I think it's a different guy. This is the one.
If the vaccine was so great, why is it so easy to find people who regret taking it, but not a single person who regrets not taking it?
Because they're dead. The people who regret not taking it literally died. They're literally dead. They're dead as fuck. I just saw this on my For You page, and then I looked at the comments and I was like, what? It's like, dude, you are spot on. Absolutely. 100%. Well said. So true. Great question. Always on point. Greetings from Greece. Spot on. Exactly. You speak the truth. Spot on. True words. 100 emoji. The truth. True. 100 emoji. Love your videos. Love your videos. You're spot on. Absolutely true. Amen, bro. Amen, brother. Correct. Truth. Like, bro, there's an alarming amount of people. Like, I hope these are bots. There are plenty of people who didn't take it that didn't die. Are you you dumb? Did you listen to the audio? He said, okay, let's listen again.
If the vaccine was so great, why is it so easy to find people who regret taking it, but not a single person who regrets not taking it?
So you're telling me you can't find a single person who regrets not taking it? That's fucking bullshit, because there are people who didn't take it and then ended up getting sick and then ended up getting really, really, really sick because they didn't take the vaccine. You see what I mean? Like, those people who ended up regretting not taking it because they ended up contracting it and like it was really bad for them, ended up dying, because that's what I'm saying. Dude, I'm not saying that like I'm just saying you didn't listen to the TikTok clearly, because that's not what the statement was. You know what I mean? Like, if you heard, he said, can't find a single person who regrets not taking it. Instead of finding a person who, like, fuck, dude, the double negative is messing with my brain right now. There isn't a single person who regrets not taking it. Like, I feel like that's why you got confused. Like, you know what I mean? It's like he's saying like a double negative here, you know?
Not taking it. If the vaccine was so great, why is it so easy to find people?
It's just silly to insinuate that there's not a single person who has rejected a vaccine and then ended up paying the price for that, i.e. getting sick with the thing that they were supposed to vaccinate to protect against, and then ending up getting extremely sick as a result. You know, like parents who decide to not vaccinate their kids and then their kids end up getting, like, I don't know, fucking polio, like some disease that is like supposed to be pretty much eradicated by now. I guess, yeah, I like, what I'm trying to say here is that I'm not saying that everybody who didn't get vaccinated died. I'm saying that most of the people who regretted not getting vaccinated, meaning they wised up and they realized that vaccines are actually good, most of those people who, when they get to that realization point, it's when they're on their deathbed. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, maybe I should have taken the vaccine. That's what I'm saying, is like there's plenty of people who don't regret not getting the vaccine. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, yeah. Anyway, that I wanted to talk about that. And then also another thing I wanted to talk about that's not a YouTube video. I usually don't do reacts to like TikToks or Twitter, but like, I don't know. I found something that I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? So this bitch, Sabrina Carpenter, takes on a job as a barista to serve espresso at the Blank Street coffee shop in London, wearing her Fendi blouse.
Oh my God, okay. She's in there. The glare is real.
Oh, it's not just a blouse, it's like a whole dress. And, you know, I'm glad that there are a lot of people in the comments that are like saying that this is ridiculous. Except for Spotify. Of course, Spotify is being the fucking capitalist, soulless PR account. She's serving, literally. Like, shut up. Probably the most boring, milquetoast, lame, like, college graduate from some fancy school with like rich parents, got a job as the Spotify social media manager. Ugh, disgusting. It makes me sick. You make me sick. Notice how it's not Starbucks? Mother, like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, oh my God. Why don't you, like, I don't know, buy people free coffee instead? Because you have a bunch of money, because you just made a bunch of money. How about that? How about, like, I don't know, buy everybody a coffee? Like, I don't give a fuck about you pretending to be a worker. Like, what the fuck, dude? I don't know. It's just like, it's just weird. Like, I would understand if you were doing it for a photo shoot, but even then, it's like, you know, like, I don't know. I've never been to one of these events, so I don't really know how they go. But it, like, I don't know. Let's analyze, shall we? Looks like somebody is coaching her on how.
Oh my God, she's in there.
The glare is
But
real.
then again, I don't see her handing. Let me see. Oh, she's handing out drinks. Oh my God. She handed out one drink. Okay, so I don't even know if she's like making the coffees or if she's just like role playing like the cash register person. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's lame. It's boring and lame and dumb and yeah, just do better. I don't know. Like, do other things other than cosplaying as a minimum wage employee. It's just like, I don't know. It's like the same vibes where like the D'Amelios were like acting as like Walmart cashiers. Like, ugh, as if. Hi, hello, drink. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the videos. Now that I showed you the non-video stuff. She for real serving. Oh God. Dude, you know, actually one thing that I wanted to talk about, speaking of like dry like company PR stuff, I hate this fucking commercial. Do you guys ever see this commercial? Hold on. The Navy Federal Credit Union commercial should be a crime. Whoever made this commercial should be jailed. 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 For a long time. Look at this. Look at this shit. I'm sure you've all seen this because this is a Twitch ad.
Question.
What's up, Gil?
When I tell my members on the socials about our auto loans with amazing rates, should I hit them with a skirt? Skirt, skirt. Maybe it's more of a Navy Federal Credit Union can help you save on a new whip with amazing rates. Yeah, that's definitely a hundo peak moment. Thanks, fam. Hi, this is Gail with Navy Federal Credit Union. What's good? Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission.
I forgot about the dab, dude. Oh my God, that just like did damage to my health bar. Like, oh my God, I need to breathe. Oh, I feel like I just got hit. Oh my God. That's so fucking bad. This is like the worst commercial I've ever seen in my life, and I've been forced to watch it so many times. Like, because of Twitch, because it's a Twitch ad. It's so fucking bad. Like, I wonder what the comments are. Are there comments? Bro, who the hell? Yes, there are comments. Yes! Who the hell approved this? It was already bad before the dab, but man, just had to come here to get my pain validated. Thanks Navy Federal for showing everyone. Oh my god. No. Oh my god. Really? Gonna have your characters act like a stereotype? I looked this up so I could say I'm never doing business with them because of this ad. Never forget that Navy Federal came out with this commercial 11 months ago. This is my personal 9/11. Got this ad on Twitch. Oh my god. I love this commercial. Wow. What a brave comment, Victoria. Grace Victoria. The brave soldier, Grace Victoria, standing alone against the opinion of thousands. $100p, not Liddy. That was 100p, not very chill. It was like 100p, very weird. Very weird vibes indeed. Speaking of weird vibes, I complain about TikTokers, especially rage baiters, all the time. But I don't think anybody complains better than my girl Halo Haley. So we're gonna watch her
instead of you
yell about content creators being the literal devil for views.
I know that we all hate doing the dishes after eating dinner, but it's just one of those things in life that you have to do, unfortunately. So, like the grown adult you are, just suck it up. Instead of using real palm leaves from the trees growing outside in nature as the plates because you're too goddamn lazy to pick up a sponge and squeeze a little dish soap onto it. And what makes me feel so insanely angry about this video is the fact that she just rolls the leaves up and throws them directly in the trash afterwards. When this didn't need to be done to begin with and could have just been left alone to flourish on that beautiful tree. You did all of that just so that you could avoid doing a few more dishes that you still had by the end of the video. So because you already garnered dishes during the entire process, you may as well just wash a few extra plates too. But if
I didn't expect this video to start out with her defending a plant.
that didn't piss you off enough, here's this video of a person who has purchased a tub full of little bags that she willingly spent money on while knowing full well she was never gonna touch them ever again, and then just throwing them away like they are actual garbage. You suddenly decided that you don't want all of these bags that you knew you didn't need to begin with? Fine. But why do they have to go in the trash? Are you too lazy to leave your goddamn house so that you can donate them to your local thrift store instead, so that they can find new life in a new home rather than spending the rest of eternity on some landfill in the middle of nowhere? Ipsy bags, which are the bags in the video, are $14. And you have at least 50 of them, which means that not only are you wasting the bags, but you've just wasted $700 of your own money.
Brother,
Or, and just hear me out here, because
Okay,
this
I
may
think
be
that
an
was-
unpopular decision.
I think that was dramatic. I think that was, you know how like people joke about like burning their house down when they see a spider? They don't actually mean they're gonna burn their house down.
But just flick the goddamn bug off of the bag. I know, right? That bag was still in pristine condition. That little guy did absolutely nothing to your bag. Can you imagine if somebody threw a piece of their clothing away every single time a fly or a mosquito landed on the material? Yeah, that sounds pretty brain dead, doesn't it? Now we have the second coming of Einstein here, who thinks they're the
Bro, speaking of flies, oh my god. Anybody else like dealing with flies lately because it's like hot? I swear. I was like trying to make oatmeal this morning, and there was like a fly in my kitchen, and I was like, oh my fucking god. And usually my reaction is like, I have like this big bug zapper, so like I try to just turn off all the lights and like make sure the bug zapper is like near where the bug is and just hope that the bug flies into it. But like it just wasn't going into the fly zapper, so I was like making my oatmeal like it was like, I don't know, like I was like having a battle or something with the fly. Like I would like jump in for a couple of seconds so I could like mix some stuff together and throw it back in the microwave, and then I'd like run away and then come back when the microwave was done. I was being terrorized by a fly this morning. I swear it gets so bad in the summer. Like you just open the door for a second and like 50 bugs Trojan horse their way into your home.
First person in history to have discovered that perfume has chemicals in it, and to prove that it's toxic, the idiot sprays this perfume directly onto the grass and kills it for absolutely no reason. I'm sorry if this is gonna sound harsh, but I don't know how you graduated high school. Let me explain this in a way that you hopefully understand. Plants love fertilizer. Does that mean humans should ingest or rub fertilizer on our skin? No. Humans can safely use deodorant to smell good. Does that mean deodorant is good for a plant? No, no, no. I can eat chocolate. Does that mean I can give my dog chocolate? Absolutely not. A lion in the safari can eat raw meat. Does that mean I, a human, can eat raw meat? No, that is how different creatures are.
That's so funny because like the whole raw community just collectively screamed out, yes you can. Those fucking weirdos who defend eating raw meat like it's like their life's work, like their life's work to prove that humans can eat raw meat. It's like, okay, we get it, bro. Like, you're a fucking gross sicko. Like, sushi's okay. Okay, the exception of seafood, I understand. Okay, I've eaten sushi. I hate fish, right? I fucking hate fish. But the one, like one of the few things that I can stomach fish-wise is sushi. And that's just because, like, it's like so clean tasting. It's like not, it doesn't taste fishy, you know? I hate the fishy taste. So like anything that tastes fishy, it just turns me off and I'm grossed out. Like I don't like cooked salmon. I don't like anything salmon usually. Like I for some reason, but if I get maybe some raw salmon on a sushi roll, it for some reason all of a sudden is magically okay. But I don't know, like I'm talking about the fuckers that eat like raw beef. Like they love raw beef. Like they prefer their beef raw, and it's like, what is wrong with you? Because I personally prefer my cow to be cooked well done, okay? And usually I only like certain parts of it. I'm really picky. Like I remember a while ago I was eating Mexican food with a friend and they were like trying to convince me to eat cabeza, and I was like, no. And they were like, but you like eat all the other parts of the cow, what's wrong with the head? And I'm like, it's the head, I can't eat the head meat, that's weird. Like, so yeah, I am a little picky about meat, and I really, really, really can't stand the people who, because of that, I cannot stand the people who eat like raw beef. Like it freaks me out so bad. Like it's scary for me. It's really, it's like a horror movie. It's very scary. I don't like that. My dad loves cabeza. It's like, I'm sure it's great, but like I said, I'm just like really picky about meats. And yeah, if I'm aware that like what I'm eating is like a weird part of an animal, I'll start to be like, oh no. So I mean, I guess and that's why I've had people actually lie to me about what I'm eating sometimes, and sometimes it goes well and I'm like, oh, you know what, I actually like that. And then sometimes it really doesn't go well, where I nearly throw up. Do you like lengua at all? I don't even know what that is. I have a very toddler palate, I'm not gonna lie. I've actually had people tell me that before, like, damn dude, you eat like a kid. And I'm like, but like, it's like, I don't know, you know, I would say I eat like a kid who likes spicy food. If anything, I would correct them and be like, well, at least I eat spicy food. Like, it's I'm not like no spice. Like, I like spices, I like flavor. I'm just like really picky, you know, like about like adult food or whatever you would call it, I guess. Lingua is tongue. What, you love tongue? Also, thanks for subbing. Your taste buds change throughout your life, so in one way it's exciting. Yeah, I agree with that. I wonder if one day I'll like mustard, because like I hate mustard. I always have hated mustard, but maybe one day I'll like mustard. Wait, why are we talking about food like this? I got distracted. Oh yeah, you're not supposed to eat raw beef.
Operate on planet Earth, ma'am. Is this your first day here? One thing that's safe for one creature to use or consume may not be so safe for another creature to use or consume. And you've just killed an innocent patch of grass to prove a point that we've all known since the 2nd grade. And if that wasn't horrific enough, here's this person who has quite literally waxed the goddamn earth by cutting squares of grass off of the ground to place onto their bathroom floor to create an ugly aesthetic in an environment that doesn't need to be aesthetic, because you're just supposed to clean yourself.
What
because
the fuck?
Without soil to grow roots into, the grass is just gonna die in a matter of days. So you've just pulled all of this beautiful, healthy, and full grass out of its natural habitat just exclusively for an Instagram reel. And then what? After a couple of days, it's gonna die. So
But an outdoor bathroom would be cool. I'm not gonna lie, that actually would be cool, because you wouldn't have to worry about like water getting on the ground or cleaning the ground. But then if you get out of the shower and step onto grass, then your feet are gonna get dirty. You know, it's a cool concept, but I would say in execution, not so great. But you know what I was thinking the other day? I wish American bathrooms had drains, like on the floors. Like, there are in commercial buildings usually drains on the floors, but not in homes. And it's so hard to clean your fucking bathroom because like your water is allergic to your floor is allergic to water. Oh my god, my brain just did that thing. Oh no. Oh, that's so bad. I hate that. Okay. Your floor is allergic to water. Shit. But yeah, I'm just saying, it's like, it's so difficult to clean that way because like you can't get a bunch of water on the floor. So how are you supposed to get your floor clean? If there's no drain for all the water, you gotta like, I don't know. It's rough. It's rough. I was thinking that yesterday because I was like, I dyed my hair. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I like didn't wash out the hair dye bowl and I had to do that, and ended up getting a bunch of water all over the floor because I didn't realize it was like pooling on the sink and like falling. Anyway, I was just like sitting there just like, I have to waste like 2 good clean towels to clean this up when I could just have a drain in my bathroom and not have this problem. But I don't know. I'm sure not every other country has drains in their bathrooms, but I've seen in like on TikTok like people literally flexing their bathroom drains. They're like, this is my biggest flex, and like they show their bathroom drain. I'm like, fuck, I will never get that. I will never have that.
So then what are you gonna do with it?
So jealous.
Can we just leave grass alone? Can we unanimously agree to do that? Unpopular opinion, but sometimes it's just easier to throw the donations out. Sometimes it's easier to just buy something from McDonald's for dinner rather than just make something at home. But does that mean you should? No. Are you aware of how flawed that mentality is? Just because it's easier doesn't mean it's better. Either stop buying things you know you don't need, or you know you're not going to use more than once, or just list it on your local free stuff.
She's right about McDonald's, by the way. you deserve better, honey. If you're gonna go out to eat, like, eat something better, okay? Because like McDonald's charges way too much for the quality. Like, you should just go somewhere that has like a good burger. Like, whatever your idea of a good burger is, hopefully it's not McDonald's. But yeah, I mean, but I would say sometimes it's easier for me to like just eat what I have in my fridge than like go out to eat. And I mean, this is like the epitome of girl dinner, but what I usually will do is like I'll like scrounge up some nuts, a fruit, like usually an apple, and then cheese, and then maybe some pieces of salami, and then like some hard-boiled eggs. And usually I have all of those things. Like, I prep hard-boiled eggs, so that way I always have hard-boiled eggs like ready. And it's so simple. I just grab the stuff, put it on the plate, and then girl dinner. It's like a snack for dinner, but it's like enough food, you know? Like, I make sure like there's like enough calories, of course. Like, it's not like I'm just eating like nothing for dinner. Like, it's a good amount of stuff. Like, I usually add like a piece of toast or pretzels or like some carb too.
Our Facebook group, so somebody who wants it can come.
I'm talking about food again. Oh, dude, I can't stop talking about food.
Just take it off your hands. Hell, if you want to make a little extra coin in the process, just list it on the Facebook marketplace. There's always going to be an alternative than to just simply unnecessarily add to the landfill. So stop being lazy or stop buying things. And don't even get me started on this absolute clown who pretends that she's making her 5-year-old the most unhealthy meals imaginable just for attention on the internet. Not only are you wasting money, not only are you purposely
Bruh, this reminds me of that girl who buys Chipotle and like other stuff like Cane's, Raising Cane's, and then she'll take something that's like already fried and then fry it again, but this time in hot Cheeto dust. Like, I saw her literally, she took Cane's the other day, chicken tenders, and then dipped them in sauce, like the cane sauce, like entirely, and then like took some like flamin' hot Cheeto puffs, ground them up, and then like rolled she basically used the cane sauce as like batter and rolled the tenders in the hot Cheetos and then deep fried them again. And not to mention, she does all of this in her car. I totally forgot about that. That is like a really important part of it. She does it all in her car. And so people are like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, rightfully so. And she's like, I'm a big back. Hee hee. I'm fat. Ha ha ha. I love food. It's like, this is not normal. Like, even if you did like love food in a very like unhealthy way, like nobody does this.
Making food inedible on purpose, but right after making this video, you know this just went directly in the bin. How disgusting is it that we now live in a world where people will walk into a grocery store and intentionally buy food knowing that they're just going to throw it out as soon as they're done creating their rage bait content? We're in a recession right now. The price of food in general has become outrageous. And there are...
Yeah, I see people doing this with like hot dogs, Vienna sausages, eggs, pasta, like all kinds of stuff. Like, just making the most like disgusting, like, you know, just like clearly rage bait recipes where they're not gonna eat it.
Millions of people who can't afford to feed themselves or their families right now. And this is what you choose to do with the privilege that you have to do so.
Baking a cake in my Stanley. I thought it'd be so fun to get a Stanley shaped cake, so I said, why not? Let's try it. I sprayed that inside, poured in all the stuff, and in it goes. I'm not gonna lie, this did damage my water bottle, so do not do this at home, but I got some really cute frosting, added some sprinkles, and it's adorable.
Wasting a $40 Stanley cup, wasting $20 worth of accessories.
Asteroid. Oh, asteroid, please strike the earth. I am done with the humans. Oh, sorry, I got distracted because I have some hair on my hand sock. Oh, where was it? Asteroid. Oh, great asteroid. Please wipe out humanity.
And wasting an entire box of cake mix. All for what exactly? Genuinely, what was the purpose of this video? Because the only thing you've achieved by making this video is exposing yourself to the lead that's inside of the cup that can only be accessed if the cup gets
Oh, dude, I totally forgot about the lead. She just straight up made a lead cake.
damaged, which you've succeeded in. So congratulations. Was all of the waste worth the lead poisoning, babe? Then there's this person who's doing a drink dispenser restock by pouring 3 entire bottles of Diet Coke into a giant dispenser with a boatload of ice, so that not only is the drink itself losing all of its flavor by being watered down, but it's legitimately going to go flat because you're leaving it to sit out on a bench overnight. This is not a restock. This is just you being greedy for likes and views. You know what would have been a—
Bro, have you guys... Oh my god. There's so much ridiculous content. I remember there was one guy who filled a fish tank. Like a giant fish tank with Diet Coke. And like made it a challenge to drink the whole thing. And then he did it with red dye 40. It was just water with red dye 40 in it. Like, can't make this shit up with a fork. No, I don't think it was a fork. Actually, maybe there was a fork involved. I think you're mixing 2 people up. I think I've seen who you're talking about. The fork guy usually has a smaller container. The guy with the aquarium, it's a big aquarium. Like, too big for fork drinking. Usually when people do the fork drinking thing, they only have like a gallon or 5 gallon, maybe 10 gallon, but like no bigger than that. I'm talking like 40 gallons. This dude drank 40 gallons of Diet Coke. For content.
a better idea? Putting 1 bottle into the fridge and then leaving the other 2 bottles in a cool, dark area until it's time to put them in the fridge for you to consume, so that you always have cold, fresh Diet Coke to drink. Duh! Isn't cool or isn't funny to do dumb restocks like this. So can we just put an end to them, please? Hey, you know what I'm gonna do?
Wait, what was that?
Funny. Just put an end to them, please.
What the fuck is that?
Hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to a cafe that sells coffee, but instead of ordering a cup of coffee, I'm going to create even more rubbish by purchasing a plastic tube of terrible coffee to squirt into this cup of water, just so that I can throw it away afterwards and create even more waste that was completely unnecessary to begin with. What a brilliant idea! The fact that this person created even more trash by going to Starbucks instead of just using a reusable mug at their own house to show this product off tells me all that I need to know. Sorry, it does. But we aren't done with coffee just yet, because a new trend on TikTok is to scoop crap tons of coffee into a cup, hold it under running water, and waiting for it to turn from brown to clear.
Oh my god, I saw something like this but with wine today, and I was like, why are we just wasting water? Like, what is this? Like, I don't know, it's like under the guise of some sort of like deep, meaningful experiment that like, so the one that I saw, she was like, this represents your pain and your trauma, and the water represents healing. And she just like started running water until it went clear for like the wine, and like had some like meaningful music behind it. And I was just like, what the fuck is this, dude? Fucking 5th grade science experiment ass. Like, no shit, the water's gonna run clear eventually. Like, do people not know how water works? Are we like, are we amazed by this function of water? Like, is this not the first time you've seen such a thing?
Clear to prove that you're healing because of your significant other. Congratulations, TikTok! Not only are you wasting coffee that's expensive to buy, but you're letting your water
And
bill
wine.
skyrocket for an idiotic
Wine
trend.
too.
Again,
Wine isn't
not
safe.
everybody is lucky enough to have access to clean
My
water.
chair's turned
so to be
around.
using clean water for corny trends like this is actually gross. As if there's not millions of other ways to show people that your crush is making your life better. Oh my god. This is healing. Healing from sugar addiction. Healing from dieting. Healing from food noise. Healing from chaos. Surrendered, calm, free. No, dumbass. This is you intentionally putting together.
I think we need to get these people Power Wash Simulator. I think that's what they need. They need some sort of like virtual reality where they can visualize cleaning things. Cause like, I don't know. It's like if you feel comforted by watching something get clean, then go clean something. Or go clean something in a fucking video game. Problem solved. You're not doing this weird shit.
Together a perfectly delicious ice cream sundae and completely destroying it by running it under tap water just to prove.
Like me, I really like collecting plants and doing alchemy in video games because I can't really do that in real life because there's not much biodiversity in a small area, and I don't have all the time and money in the world to travel just to collect plants. And also, I don't even know if it's as cool in real life as it is in video games. I feel like it's cooler in video games to like collect plants and do alchemy and cook and shit. Like, so much fun for me personally. I love doing that in video games, but I don't do it in real life. Because it would be like kind of a waste of my time and it would like give me no results. You know what I mean?
That you're not addicted to sugar? Let me just say something. Chances are that if you have to do this to your ice cream just so that you won't eat it, more likely than not, you're probably still addicted to sugar. You just ignore its presence.
This reminds me of the Israelis who were making TikTok videos in October, November, flexing that they had running water and electricity. Yeah, I mean, that is just like, yeah, that's just straight up like intentional evil. And I don't know if like these people, I don't know if I would accuse them of being intentionally evil, but they're definitely being evil. I think they think it's not evil because they think about it in the sense where they're like, well, it's for my content. It's for content. Like that's just my content. Instead of like, I'm not trying to like flex on people. Like, it's just my content. And it's like, but you are flexing on people by this being your content. The fact that you have like no care in the world about all this money that you're wasting making your content. It's just disgusting.
In the freezer entirely. You wouldn't care about it. You're wasting food to prove a point that isn't even true. But what truly gets to me the most is the influencers buying overpriced cups, then buying unnecessary accessories for it on Amazon, and then buying a bunch of food from notoriously expensive luxury grocery stores just for comments and shares on TikTok. You bought Hailey Bieber's smoothie, sushi, cauliflower wings, sea moss gel, and a macaron. None of this even pairs together at all. So you bought this food just to flex. In a world where now a single slice of pizza is $4, despite the fact that in 1990, an entire pizza was $4.
Pizza Hut presents the $4 pizza deal.
We get one pizza.
Regular price.
4 more pizzas are each.
$4.
For a limited time, first pizza regular price up to 4 more, just $4 each.
And the fact that a pack of wings for a family is over $200.
This is for anyone thinking of moving to Canada. Our food prices are outrageous. Here we have a pack of drumsticks from Costco. $202 for this pack.
Oh my god, dude, that's like Alaska levels of pricing. Holy shit.
Or $224 for this one.
And in a world where pasta used to cost 68 cents, but is now over $3, videos like this are just so
The egg noodles? Not the egg noodles. Those are supposed to be the cheapest of the noodles. What? This is how you know society is truly doomed, when the egg noodles are $3.29.
is now over $3. Videos like this are just so tone deaf. And the mindset that these out-of-touch TikTok stars have
I can't afford cake, but you can afford a phone? Sorry, I'm confused.
genuinely pisses me off. You can afford a phone, so clearly you can afford a cake. You're a fuckwit, and I'm being nice. I'm not even going to entertain you. So please, let this comment speak for me instead. That's like saying, wait, you can't afford a car? But you have a house. How does that make sense? You look like Berber the damn fool right now. Anyways, guys, my blood pressure is through the roof right now. So we're gonna end the video here. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Mwah. I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Oh yeah, subscribe to Haley. Yes. I love how she yells about stuff. That's great. I wish I could be like her. Really let my anger out on people.
Uh-oh, guys.
Okay. Uh-oh, new chat alert. You mean loud? Yes. Well, no. Well, yes. Yes.
I'm in the closet during Pride Month too. That's messed up. Anyway, while we're here, might as well talk about clothes, specifically these ones that you can get here at this website because they're my merch. They are my merch. I don't know why I said that like it was a question. It's not a question. It is my merch. Here's this design and this design. And there's also that design. Wow, look at that design. Here's some pictures and videos of me wearing the shirts and looking really good in them because they look really, really good after tomorrow when I've gotten my hair done and it doesn't look like deep fried straw. And if you wear them, it'll make you very cool. I'm sure you're already cool, but these will make you twice as cool. These will make you cool. Anyway, that's the merch. That's the announcement. Now we can get back to it. Fine, we can look at it one more time since you insist. Since you insisted.
Oh my god.
Hey guys, today we're talking about men who kick balls and men whose balls we'd like to kick. A twinge of cringe. My name is Chad. Not really. And imagine you're a hardworking woman. If you're already a hardworking woman, you can just sit there. You've done enough. Now imagine you've dedicated years to your education, countless sleepless nights and energy drinks, all while working a job, or 2 maybe, or maybe even 3. Who knows? Everything sucks right now, but it was all worth it because today it's finally over. You've done it. Your friends and family surround you, beaming with pride as you toss your cap in the air and celebrate one of the biggest achievements of your life. And then a guy gets on stage and says this.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
If you don't know who this is, lucky, this is Harrison Butker, and he is a kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. More like Kansas Shitty Chiefs, am I right?
Haha, good one, Chad. Up top. Oh god, Chad. No, don't.
If you don't know who they are Taylor Swift's football team, and if you don't know what football is, figure it out. I can't hold your hand through all of this. Harrison was invited to be the speaker at a graduation ceremony where he decided not to stick to the status quo. No. Stick to the status quo. Did you hear that run? I've got runs. I have the runs. Instead of using his time to inspire graduates or congratulate them on all their hard work, Harrison decided to use his time to complain about things that bother him. And the first thing that bothers him, apparently, is women having careers. And thank goodness he was here to save these women from the diabolical lies such as, hey, if you want to have a job, you can. The true diabolical lies at college are typically more like, this will get you a higher paying salary. You're gonna remember a single vocab word from your 4 semesters of Spanish. Harrison took this opportunity to address women and women only. He doesn't mention the importance of child rearing to the male graduates and brushes off their achievements as being kind of a pit stop on their way to becoming wives. And this might be one of the most inappropriate places to do that ever. The best time to try and tell women what they should be doing with their lives is never, but the worst time is when they're actively doing what they want to do with their lives. They're currently making an achievement toward their career, and you chose this one right now to talk about how they should be getting married. Maybe take a break from the balls and kick rocks for a minute instead, maybe. No, this is not a meet and greet.
Oh, dude. I don't even want to bring up this girl, but this reminds me of that girl who was like mad that people aren't having kids. She was like pissed. Like she like posted a video on like TikTok and Twitter saying slurs and just like so fucking mad that there are people out there who decide not to have kids. Like genuinely upset about it. It's pretty funny.
Everybody's got to come in and say hi. Unless you have anything to say.
I'll talk to Harrison all year long, man. I just let him do his thing.
I'll talk to him. Go say hello. It's not like in the lunchroom. You say hi in the lunchroom?
No, we sit right beside each other in team meeting, and I don't say one word to him. Only before the season and after the season. That's the only time I talk to him.
I think this is just a variation of the podcast effect where something takes hold of some guys the second they touch a microphone. It's like they've never spoken out loud before and they need to get it all out in that moment while they have the opportunity. All right, thank you. Thank you all for being here at my wedding or baby shower, I don't know. Anyway, this reminds me of how much I hate chunky peanut butter. If I wanted to eat peanuts, I just eat peanuts. Honey, could you talk about our love, maybe? This reminds me of how much I would love for women to never speak again. He makes a comment about how his wife's life didn't begin until she married him.
I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother.
Which makes it sound like women are mindless NPCs just hovering in a market somewhere until you propose to them with a mermaid pendant.
I need Harrison Butker to know that I love my kids, I love my husband, but my life ended when I had them.
It's pretty conceited, I think, to imply that...
Wait, I wasn't paying attention because I was hung up on the Stardew Valley reference.
I love my kids, I love my husband, but my life ended when I had them.
It's pretty conceited, I think, to imply that your wife's life didn't exist until she was
glad I
legally
rewinded.
bound to you. Before we got married, before my wife had the opportunity of marrying me, she was hovering in this dark plane of incommunicable nothingness. Oh, where is my husband? Won't anyone wed me so I can see the skibbity toilet and taste the watermelon ice disposable vape?
I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
After telling us how talented he is, he attributes his success to the fact that his wife is a homemaker and primary educator of their children.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
It's fine, I don't care. And I've noticed that a lot of husbands like this don't bring up being a homemaker unless it has to do with them and their own success. It's almost as if what they appreciate most about their wife's hard work is the fact that it's helping them do the actually important hard work. The important man job, career man, work stuff, sport stuff. Important stuff.
Well, I've just gone and had a little observe of his Instagram, and are you noticing anything? And when I say anything, particularly, are you noticing said wife, mother of his children, in a single post?
It's not so much I'm proud of her for what she's accomplishing, it's more I'm proud of her for what she's helping me accomplish. Me, the man who does the man job.
Yeah, he's probably like, I don't want to post her on social media because she's all mine. That's probably it. He's probably scared of like other guys looking at pictures of her.
Sports stuff, work stuff, important stuff. But what she's doing is also work. You two just have different jobs. Except hers is raising future members of society and yours is kicking a ball between two sticks. Sometimes, in Harrison's case,
And Bucker is hooking and hits the post for the lead. No good.
He doesn't stop there, though. He goes on to bring up every political qualm he has, such as reproductive rights, IVF, and degenerate cultural values. I wonder what cultural values he's talking about. Probably objectively bad ones. Probably, right? Probably bad ones.
I am certain the reporters at the AP could not have imagined that their attempt to rebuke and embarrass places and people like those here at Benedictine wouldn't be met with anger, but instead met with excitement and pride. Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it.
And during Pride Month, Mr. Butt? During Pride Month, Mr. Posterior? I'm just kidding, I'm behind, so this actually happened last month in May, which makes it perfectly fine. I kind of get it, though. He and a group of very sweaty men.
Wait, his last name's Butker and he's a kicker? That's too funny, man. Butt kicker.
Do play with balls every day, so he has to take a solid stance. Homophobia do play with balls.
Butt kicker playing with balls
every day, so he has to take a solid stance. Homophobia is the only option. I'm always saying this. I've always said that about homophobia, and that I've always said that about that stuff, and I always will. The thing is, he doesn't even go into detail about pride or what he finds wrong with it. He just throws it in there to make sure we know he doesn't like it. Just a quick little on the way kind of thing. All right, can I get you any extra sauce? You're gonna burn in hell for all.
It's virtue signaling. It's him virtue signaling to his political affiliation. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, yeah, like imagine somebody did this at like an award show or something. They like came up to accept the award and they're like, to all you women out there, like everybody would be like, who's this guy? What the fuck?
For all of eternity, you know that? So that's a no on the sauce then? No. Can I get some honey mustard, please? Here you go. Thank you. And fuck you. He also mentions Congress just passed a bill that will put you in jail for bringing up the Bible.
The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We fear speaking truth because now, unfortunately, truth is in the minority. Congress just passed a bill where stating something as basic as the biblical teaching of who killed Jesus could land you in jail.
Where? Guys, we're in the minority. Guys, they want to put us rich white men in jail. Nobody likes rich white men anymore, guys. What are we gonna do? This entire speech feels like he doesn't know where he was gonna be giving it. It's like someone told him he was preparing for a presidential debate or something. And for my first act as president, I'll be making every man grow a beard like this, like I have.
And you can't tell men what to do with their face. That's ridiculous.
Well, can I at least tell women what to do with their ovaries?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
My name is Mr. Butt, and I approve this message. People started wondering about the process of inviting Harrison as a speaker and why no one reviewed his speech beforehand. And I was wondering that too until I realized that this speech was being given at Benedictine College, which is a private religious school in Kansas.
You also have to keep in mind this was at a Catholic and conservative college. So a lot of the men were like, yeah.
Not only did it seem to get little to no negative feedback from the crowd, it apparently received a standing ovation.
Some of us did boo. Me and my roommate definitely did. There was a standing ovation from everyone in the room, except from me, my roommate, and about 10 to 15 other women.
I still have no clue why he specifically was asked to speak. He didn't attend this college, he was never a student, and he even admits himself at the beginning of his speech that he's not a professional speaker.
And I felt that one graduation speech was more than enough, especially for someone who isn't a professional speaker.
Which is true, but maybe don't start your speech by letting us know how unqualified you are to be giving it. Doesn't exactly instill confidence. I'm no professional doctor. I'm no professional nurse either, all right? I'm no registered anything. I'm not registered or qualified to do anything, just so you know, just putting that out there. Maybe someone else should do my catheter insertion then? Once clips of the speech got out, people started sharing their thoughts about it on TikTok.
It is a crazy day when a football player that kicks a ball for a living is saying a speech at a college and telling women, you mean nothing? Your life means nothing until you get married and have kids. In front of women that have spent years working hard to achieve this amazing achievement.
32,509 signatures is crazy work, especially within the span of 2 days.
It is honestly beyond comprehension to understand how in 2024 a man could get up on a stage and say that a woman's life is only meant for marriage and having babies. Absolutely insane.
And for the most part, people were in agreement that this wasn't the most encouraging speech you could give to women. You
the women.
But of course, you know what they say, behind every loud-spoken misogynistic man, there is a loud-spoken misogynistic Brett Cooper.
With a college degree and a career and no children yet, I can confidently say that Harrison Butker is right. And there is nothing wrong with a man in tears celebrating his wife and thanking her for...
All right, Brett, then quit your job, get married, and have a kid if he's right. Why the fuck are you working? Why do you have a job? If you agree with him. Like, why are you wasting your time? Get to it. Snap, snap.
The sacrifices that she makes every single day for their family and their children,
Please.
and the sacrifices that every
I'm
mother
begging you, leave the internet.
around the world makes for her family.
No one is saying it's wrong for him to thank his wife. He basically told a crowd full of women that they shouldn't be doing what they're currently doing. He claimed they'd been fed lies by choosing to pursue a career.
Yeah,
Mr.
the clock,
Posterior's wife is
your biological clock is ticking.
allowed to do whatever she wants, and the female graduates in this room are allowed to do whatever they want without some football guy dude trying to convince them otherwise.
And it's not wrong to acknowledge that millions of women around the world desperately want that. Want to be a homemaker.
Are the millions of women with us in this one room at Benedictine College? We're not talking about women who want to have a family and don't want to go to college. That's a completely different demographic. Not to say that some women at this graduation don't want to have a family. I'm sure plenty of them do. But the fact that the only address to women he makes during this entire graduation ceremony is to brush off their accomplishments and basically say it means nothing in comparison to their wifely duties. Boo. Tomato. Tomato, potato, tomato, potato. I don't know what we expected though. He does have the literal word but in his name. Anything that comes out of him is gonna be shit. For some reason, people like Harrison believe it's women's innate desire to get married, and if they don't, they're denying themselves and are deep down very miserable. Not me though. Deep down, I am nothing. I have no thoughts. I don't actually exist yet, so I'm sorry. Let me just...
Wow, she's a Harvey girl. I didn't expect Chad to be a Harvey girl. Yo, Harvey's fucked up. Because even after you marry him, he still charges you for his medical stuff. Like, if he takes care of you at the doctor's office, he still charges you. Even if he's married to you. Yeah. What a bastard. What a stingy bastard. People are like, oh, he's just covering the cost. No, he charges you the same amount that he charges you when you're not married. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. He literally doesn't do free labor for you. He makes you pay for his labor. The drama of it all. Ryu, thank you so much for gifting that sub. What a bastard, man. Yes. Ooh. Okay. Got more videos. We're gonna watch them for sure. Yep. Okay. New John Oliver. Let's go.
Our main story tonight can—
My god, dude. I have a traumatizing memory where when I was at the beach one time when I was a kid, this like fucking shithead boy found a jellyfish, and I don't know why he had like a cookie cutter thing, but he had a fucking cookie cutter and he just like put it on top of the jellyfish and stomped down on it and then pulled the thing out and put it on my hand, on his hand, and then held it out towards me. And it was like a heart, and I was like, oh my god, dude, that is so vile. I can't believe you just did that. You know? Oh my god, it was the worst thing. I think, when is Kylie Jenner's birthday? I think I'm literally like the same exact age as her, like right down to like almost like we have like a couple of days apart from our birthday. Maybe not a couple of days birthday. Oh. Okay, it's a month. She was born a month before me. She's a month older than me. about, give or take. She's born in August 1997. I'm born in July 1997. So next time somebody asks me how old I am, I'll be like, I'm as old as Kylie Jenner.
We've discovered more than 10,000 new chemical compounds from sponges. In fact, a number of drugs from the world's first
Unk status? Bro, you can't call a woman unk. That's just not... That's not how it works. You call me auntie, at
medication
least.
to treat
A more accurate thing would be like coyote. Like hiring a coyote to take care of chickens. Dude, coyotes took down my goat one time. Like, coyotes are scary. I wasn't scared of coyotes until one of them literally, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3, I don't know how many there were, but they hopped a really fucking tall fence and killed my pet goat and ate its torso. And I found it in the morning. I was like, oh my God. What the fuck happened to my goat? So I didn't have just one goat. I had 2 goats, but the coyotes only got one of them. So the other one was still alive and really scared, and it was her mom too. It was like the daughter goat that got killed. I had 2 goats, and one of them was named Zelda and the other one was named Tetra. Tetra was the daughter, Zelda was the mom. And Zelda had to watch her daughter get murdered by coyotes. It's so sad, dude. So fucked up. Thanks. I won't be able to sleep tonight. Sorry. Now you know why my life is so fucked up. This is just one of the few very unfortunate things that has happened in my life. Seeing my pet goat ripped open at the torso, eaten alive by coyotes. And then realizing that her mom just witnessed the whole thing. And she was scared of people, so I couldn't even comfort her. There was no going up to her and petting her or anything. I just had to, just move on. It was just shitty. Ryan, fuck. Who's the guy who's supposed to be Ayn Rand in BioShock? What's his name? Fuck. Andrew Ryan would be so mad. Dude, why can't I remember things like that sometimes? I swear, I'm really bad at remembering names. Yeah, Andrew Ryan would like to have a word with you about not colonizing the seafloor. Oh yeah, didn't they started harvesting those slugs. They even were harvesting stuff off of the seafloor. But they were slugs instead of rocks. Andrew Ryan. Yes. Slug mining? Wake up, we mining slugs. Yeah, so basically the powers that you get in BioShock are all possible because of the slugs that they found at the bottom of the ocean. And the material that they call Adam that they extracted from the slugs. Or no, they put the slugs in the little girls' bodies. How the little sisters' bodies. So you know how the little sisters collect Adam and then eat it so that the slug can process it or whatever. But originally Adam was found inside of those slugs. Something like that. But yeah, basically they were using those slugs, harvesting the slugs to make Adam and make those special abilities. What are they called again? Placids? Or they're different. They're called something else in Infinite. It's bothering me. I need to look it up. Plasmids. They're called plasmids in BioShock. And then in Infinite, it's called Vigors, yeah. Or Plasmids. Did I call it Placid? Plasmid. Well, it's Plasmids in the first two, and then Vigors in Infinite. Yeah. Glad we cleared that up. Don't want to be mistaken about the Bioshock lore. Gotta make sure I'm on point. Very important. Ben, thank you so much for the dono. Let's go. Let me see 1 second. How long is this video? You know, we can watch another video. This is a new content creator. Well, they're not new. I just recently found them. New to me. Talking about clean talk and restock content. And yeah, we're talking about cleaning TikTok again because I think it's very fascinating. Clean talk.
Has your TikTok algorithm served you cleaning and organizing videos set to super ASMR sounds? Well, that means that you've successfully stumbled upon Clean Talk and its sister niche, Restock and Organized Talk. So-called Clean Talk emerged during the height of the pandemic where people were all stuck in their houses, and restocking and organizing content followed closely behind. With celebrities like the Kardashians working with a luxury organizing company, The Home Edit, who meticulously organized the homes of the rich, the aesthetic organizing obsession only grew. While these cleaning and organizing videos are super aesthetically pleasing to watch, there's more to it than meets the eye. And there might be something really dirty about this performance of cleanliness.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I love this.
With and meets the eye. And there might be something
This is
really
like
dirty
so-
about this performance of cleanliness.
This B-roll. I love her. It's like so boomer coded. Oh my god.
In November 2023, a
let me
woman
link
went
her
viral on
social,
TikTok telling people,
her
unpopular opinion,
YouTube
you need to
channel,
clean your
Ashley.
Christmas tree. And she proceeded to wash her Christmas tree in the bathtub. Of course, she was subsequently dragged in the comments, but this creator is just one of many participants in the clean talk phenomenon that's gained popularity on TikTok and has since made its way to other social media platforms like Instagram and YouTube as well. Today, the hashtag clean talk has millions upon millions of views of videos of people cleaning their houses meticulously. Some people can—
They're using too much product, dude. That pisses me off. Like, stop it.
make the argument that this would inspire people to want to clean their house. In fact, I have found myself watching a clean talk video or two, and I found myself being just so enamored with the process of these people taking their houses from being in a state of disarray to being spick and span. It's aesthetically pleasing, it's relaxing, soothing to watch, but the obsession with this performance of cleanliness, emphasis on the word performance, is an interesting phenomenon that I want to break down a little bit more. Why exactly do we like to watch content like this? Our brains like order, says psychologist Christy Phillips. The problem for me with this content is while it is glamorous and really aesthetically pleasing, realistically, most people do not have time to clean their houses to the magnitude that these creators do and make it look super aesthetic. Most of us are working 40 hours at least a week, and some of us are even working 2-3 jobs. Those of us who are neurodivergent know that our executive dysfunction be dysfunctioning, okay? Nor do they have the money and resources to hoard countless cleaning products. These cleaning videos serve more as a performance than anything, as a means to promote products than anything. More often than not, these clean talk videos are an opportunity to have product placement. A lot of these clean talk influencers are using the same products like the Scrub Daddy or the Scrub Mommy or the pink stuff spray bottles. In fact, it's widely believed that clean talk specifically emerged just as a means of promoting Scrub Daddy products. In some cases, clean talk influencers are outright in saying that this is a sponsored post and they're working with whatever.
I'm not gonna lie, every once in a while I get the urge. I'm like, maybe I should buy a scrub daddy. And I'm like, no. You can get a 50 pack of sponges online for like $3. Stop feeling the urge to buy the scrub daddy. It's no sponge is worth that amount of money.
Cleaning brand. In other cases, they gatekeep the links to the actual products that they use and insist that you check out the link in their bios in order to purchase said product. And more likely than not, it's an Amazon storefront link where the creator makes a commission each time that you buy the product. So oftentimes they don't want to say outright what the products are.
I mean, I don't even care if they're really good. Honestly, if, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is I would rather deal with shitty sponges because they're so much more affordable that it's worth like the extra elbow grease I gotta put in.
That they're using in the videos and instead direct you to their bio so that they can make that commission, which there's nothing wrong with that. I will say 100 times over. I just wish that creators would be a little bit more upfront in saying that every time you click this link, they do make a commission off of it. As far as the products themselves, a lot of clean talk influencers are mixing toxic products that health experts are warning the public against using in order to create this aesthetic of a rainbow hue of products.
By the Amazon link, you can just buy scrub daddies at Walmart. That's because that's how influencers make their money. Duh. I mean, you know, that's how, like, there's, I don't know if you know this, but that's what Amazon influencers are. They sit there and they go, wow, look at this product that I have. It's so good. I love it. Yeah. Look, link in my bio, Amazon storefront. And then when somebody goes to the link in their bio at the Amazon storefront and buys this big tub of Vaseline, they get a commission off of it. That's how it works. Most of the time, they don't even fucking, like, use the shit that they're promoting. They just pretend to use it. Like, a common thing that I see is Bloom, which is, like, a greens, like, it's, like, supposed to be, like, a beverage mixture. It's supposed to be, like, oh, drink this once a day and you'll be healthy. It's, like, they call it, like, it's a greens drink. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't even know. It's, like, powdered greens. And it's supposed to help with bloating and a bunch of other unfounded bullshit claims. But like every influencer and their mother is sponsored by Bloom.
They just add one product after the other product after the other product. And I'm just like, I hope to God that they're at least wearing masks because they may just be passing out by the time that they hit upload. Like this one creator who's mixing
cleaners
what
like
looks
that.
like
That too, like they're like, not only is it bad, but it's dangerous.
Like Ajax. Okay, and then she's going in with, I think, what is that? OxyClean? I don't know. Just one after the other. Oh, you thought she was done? Okay. We got green, blue, purple, indigo, aqua, red. It just never stops. Oh, yellow. We're still not done. Purple. Why on earth? Oh, more blue. More blue.
Like, just buy art supplies, bitch. Make art. Stop wasting cleaning supplies.
Red or pink. What is the reason? What is the reason other than for aesthetics? We are literally mixing and wasting the amount of waste. The amount of waste.
This is the most dangerous way to make art. Like, you could have bought dye and glycerin and had the same exact effect. You could have just dyed some glycerin and it would look exactly like the soap that she's using. Most of the soaps
that is being displayed in this TikTok is driving me. I mean, look at all of those products. For what? All for TikTok. It's insanity. You could literally spread the use of those products to multiple cleaning sessions, but all of those products were...
Like, imagine somebody fucking calling their disgusting recipe that they made for rage bait art. Like, I'm sorry, but you go in the volcano. Like, I think we have to restrict some free speech in this scenario. I think we must restrict the free speech, okay? Because if you're gonna call this bullshit art, to hide behind the fact that you're actually, you know what you're doing is some fuck shit and you're just pretending like it's not. Maybe we should restrict your free speech just a little bit. Just a bit.
Wasted for who? For TikTok, for people's enjoyment, for their entertainment. I don't know how entertaining that was to watch though. Medical toxicologists are saying that this is extremely dangerous. Dr. Kelly Johnson Arbor, a medical toxologist at the National Capital Poison Center, says that she often gets many calls daily.
My problem with this is like, not that people enjoy cleaning content. You can be a content creator who makes cleaning stuff and like do it in an ethical manner. I would say this is unethical because not only is it wasteful, but also dangerous to them and the people who are consuming the content, because not only does it put them immediately in danger while they're making the thing, filming the video, but it also puts others in danger who watch the video thinking that they can do the same thing. Oh, I'm gonna go get a bunch of different cool colored cleaners from the store and then mix them all together in my sink and make a deadly gas bomb in my bathroom.
About adverse reactions to mixing chemicals in similar manners. And Carolyn Forte, the executive director of the Good Housekeeping Institute's Home Care and Cleaning Lab, says flushing excessive amounts of mixed cleaners down the drain or toilet can damage surfaces and clog plumbing. Some of these videos show thick sledges of mixed...
Oh, never mind. It should be back. If you disconnected, refresh. I back. I should be back. I don't even want to talk about it, honestly. The people who know what's going on know what's going on. I can't do anything about it.
Lavish houses to film in, but they're unable to pay their rent. They're living above their means, but that is what's incentivized, that in order to be an influencer, you have to have this really aesthetic looking home. So in these cleaning and organizing videos, you see these influencers with super aesthetic homes, with super perfectly manicured nails. They're taking food that already comes in a container just to put it in another container because they can't have the food possibly not be super aesthetic. Drinking game, every time I say aesthetic, take a drink. You're gonna be drunk by the end of this video. But they're putting this food in another container. And I'm just like, how do you even know if your food is expired? The expiration date is always on the original packaging. So hopefully they're at least keeping the original packaging, but it's just not smart to take food out of a container to put it in another container. Stacks and stacks of containers, all with super aesthetic labels, a refrigerator where everything looks positioned perfectly, fancy machines that make your house look more like a store than a home. What are we doing? Jenna Drenton, an associate professor of marketing at Loyola University in Chicago, refers to this as quote unquote pantry corn with a P. I can't say it on YouTube. She says that this phenomenon is yet another status symbol for the rich. She says online pantry corn with a P sets the aspirational standard for being an ideal mom, ideal wife, and ideal woman. I want it to be clear because many of you probably don't know the ins and outs of being a creator, but because these creators are doing this as a job, this is their profession, and their specific niche is being a clean talk, organized, restock talk influencer, they are able to write off all of these purchases on their taxes. They can write it off of their taxes because it's necessary for them to do their jobs. But you, on the other hand, if you go out and buy all of these products, these organizing products, you're paying with that out of your own pocket.
Oh my God. Speaking of buying things for your job, I need to buy a Rodecaster mixer and I looked up the price. It's like fucking $800. But I have to because like my GoXLR Mini literally electrocuted me the other day. Or maybe it was my headphones. I don't know, but I need new audio mixing equipment. And it's really fucking expensive.
This is their job. They're working, they're performing. That's not attainable for the average person. And a lot of these viral products on Clean Talk and Restock Talk, people buy them and they only use them once.
Also, GoXLR is like notorious for being shit. Like really bad. Not only is there like a constant like low buzzing noise, but also it doesn't even fucking work for like half of the features are supposed to work. When I hold I think when I pulled that button down, it just mutes me instead of making the cussing noise like it's supposed to. Wait, is it working? Mother. Was it work? It doesn't work. Oh my god, it does do it. Oh my god. See, it didn't work for a really long time. I used to try to use it and then it wouldn't work and then I would end up looking really stupid. Or I would end up looking really
once, maybe twice, and discard of them. I've heard people say as much. And this one creator, and I'm not trying to hate on them, no hate to them, please don't send any hate to them. Their whole brand is just waste and overconsumption. Why do you need a towel warmer? Why? Do you really in any real world need to have a warm towel hit your body after you just got out of a warm shower? Why do you need a food tray attachment to your Stanley Cup? How do you even drink out of said Stanley Cup? Why do you need to take food with you into the bathtub to eat? How do you drink from the Stanley Cup when it has a literal tray with chocolates? The amount of waste is insane to me. This creator was dragged for
Oh my god, this is the person I always talk about, Nikki from Nikki's side of Clean Talk. This is the lady who cleans Airbnbs and hotels before she stays in them.
To hotel rooms and proceeding to clean it from top to bottom, spraying all of these toxic chemicals all over the furniture like it's her house. Again, no hate to this creator. Someone else is gonna have to stay in this hotel room and breathe in all of these toxic fumes. And that's just so inconsiderate. It's one thing to do that in your own home, but to be going to a public space and you're spraying toxic chemicals all over the furniture, it's just on another level. It's on another level of waste. It's actually exhausting the amount of overconsumption that TikTok promotes and encourages, because that's the kind of content that the algorithm pushes.
She's acting like cleaning products are poison. I mean, like, I understand like being mad about mixing products together, but if she's just spraying Lysol all over the place, who gives a fuck?
Be clear. Organizing is great. When my house is more organized and clean, I feel better. I will never say that that's not the case, but I also have to be realistic. Most of us, when we're cleaning, it's not a particularly glamorous, aesthetically pleasing production. Imagine as you're cleaning and scrubbing, you're carrying a camera around with you. That's work. The aesthetification, which is a word that we use on this channel, a new word in the Ashley Viola English Dictionary. The aesthetification, though, of normal life is something that is really a symptom of this chronically online world that we live in. We love the internet. You're watching this on the internet right now, and the internet is a great place to learn, to grow, to reflect. But the internet is also a place that turns the areas that were once previously believed or deemed or treated like they were private and intimate areas of our life now becomes an opportunity for content, which there's nothing wrong with if you do so in a healthy way, but you have mommy influencers using their children as accessories, as purses on their arms to make content, to make more money. We have people mixing toxic chemicals and telling you to buy unnecessary cleaning products and expensive cleaning tools. I get it. No one wants to really work 9-to-5 jobs. We talked about how toxic 9-to-5 jobs are. But when we take the toxicity, the exploitation, and the conformity, all of the elements of corporate America that we don't like so much, and we just put it in a different setting, it's still toxic. When a space as private and as unglamorous as a refrigerator has to become an opportunity for a photo op, that you can't allow things to just be, that's a problem.
Dude, the only time I think like, man, my fridge looks so aesthetic is when it's empty. When there's nothing in it. I'm like, looking clean, looking fresh. But it's just because there's nothing in there.
Problem. Always having to perform is exhausting, not to mention expensive. There is an element of classism to this clean talk, organize and restock talk niche.
Really? On my fridge, bro, I have honey sesame chicken in my fridge. I just remembered. Oh my god, yes.
Realistically, who can really afford to buy a collection of customized containers for all of the spices in their house? Who can really afford to buy those organizing devices for your refrigerator? Who could really afford to have a whole soda making machine in their house? Who could really afford to buy a litany of cleaning products that you cannot use in your lifetime? People are struggling. They're getting laid off. We're in the midst of a housing affordability crisis. Just who is supposed to be able to afford all all these things. People who have money to blow, that's who. Similarly to the beige moms.
Yeah, and about that, like a lot of these things, they're not gonna last very long because they're like cheap plastic. Like I remember a while ago I bought these like plastic acrylic clear like little tiny drawer containers for like my bathroom area, because like I don't know, I wanted something to put Q-tips in and like little dental floss picks and like some bobby pins and hair ties in another, and you know, like just like to have a nice little like mini drawer on top of my bathroom counter. They're in bad condition now. Like I've had them for probably like only 2 years, maybe 3 at the most, and they're in awful condition. They look like shit. Okay, they're dirty. I cannot get them clean. I've tried. Like when I try to clean them, it's just like sometimes I guess what I'm trying to say is it's like you're gonna have to continuously keep rebuying if you're like buying these plastic containers, acrylic containers. I guess maybe if you buy glass, you would need to replace them a lot less often. Like glass lasts a lot longer. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like so much extra wasteful, especially thinking that, you know, like 5 years from now, they're probably going to have to throw away all their acrylic organizing shit because it gets dirty and you can't clean it. Because it's like, I don't know, for some reason, I wish I could, like, if you guys don't like understand the struggle, I wish I could help you understand the struggle, but like I literally cannot get those things to be clean. It's impossible for me. And I'm just like, at this point I'm considering just throwing them away because they look so fucking gross, but they're like not even gross. I don't know, but yeah, anyway.
Trend, I do believe that there is this hint of moral superiority. It's like your milk is still in the same carton that it came in, your eggs are still in the same carton that it came in, your spices are still in the same spice container that they came in. How tacky. We need to normalize having a normal home. Social media has robbed us of the ability to show our houses in a normal state. There are some women who are rejecting this super aesthetic concept of cleanliness, posting their realistic homes with the hashtag hot mess mom or non-aesthetic mom, which I applaud them for. It's time for us to stop forcing ourselves to perform and allow our houses to be messy or just not be.
I don't think they should call themselves hot messes. I think they should just call themselves normal. Like, or any, like you don't even need to put a label on it. It's like
picture perfect at the very
normal.
least. As writer Rebecca Jennings puts it, this is all likely the result of doing the majority of our socializing via a screen, where the image of something becomes more important than what it actually is or does or how it makes us feel. We were never meant to tour this many people's sterile gray homes or look at this many people's wax deodorized bodies or know exactly how many bottles of Shout someone buys at Target to keep it all sparkling. Doing so has warped our perception of what and whom cleanliness is for, and vastly overestimated how much any of it matters. Cleaning is already tedious enough. Why make it even more so? Organizing is, again, a great thing to do. Cleaning is a great thing to do. But you don't have to break the bank and buy these super high-tech gadgets in order to get your house clean. And you certainly do not need to be hoarding these cleaning solutions in order to make your house clean. Instead, you can reuse old things that you already have around the house, like old shoe boxes and jars. Like you just finished a jar of pasta, save that jar, reuse it to store something. Like for example, I needed a place to store my bobby pins because they were just all over the house. And so instead of going out and buying something new, I just reused this jar that I already had lying around the house, and voila, my bobby pins now have a place to live. I want to be clear, it's totally okay to buy organizing materials for your house, right? It's okay to buy storage containers and things like that. It's okay to buy hangers. It's okay to organize your life, but do so in moderation. And if there are opportunities to reuse something instead of buying something new, opt to do that instead.
Ooh, yeah, like an example of me reusing something. A while ago, I bought a little Halloween bucket, like a little jack-o'-lantern bucket for Halloween. And of course, you know, there's absolutely no use for it outside of Halloween, but I converted it into a mini trash can for my bathroom because I didn't have enough mini trash cans for all of my rooms in my house. So I got a festive little jack-o'-lantern trash can in my bathroom.
Don't need to purchase fancy high-tech cleaning products. A classic broom and mop will do just fine if you're on a budget. You don't need to mix a bunch of toxic chemicals all over your house.
And also sometimes when I'm thinking to myself, like, I need a big jar, I'm like, note to self, buy big pickle jar when you go to the grocery store next. Because I'm like, I'm gonna finish that jar of pickles and then I'm gonna have a free jar when I'm finished with the pickles. It's a win-win.
In order to get it to be clean, you can just buy one multi-surface cleaner to clean your entire house. That's why it's called a multi-surface cleaner. It's an all-in-one. The more you know. If these videos inspire you to get clean and get organized, that's awesome. I'm not gonna take that away from you. But all I'm saying is don't feel the pressure to go out and buy a million fancy cleaning products in order to feel satisfied.
Yeah, honestly, you just need one multi-purpose and then one that's like really heavy duty, like Ajax or whatever for like cleaning your bathtub and your toilet. But like the multi-surface cleaner, she's so right about that. Like you can use it for practically everything, but it's not strong enough for sometimes things like built up scum on the tub or like cleaning the toilet. Like I would recommend definitely buying something with bleach, maybe like I said, like Ajax or Comet, you know, like those powdered cleaners are great for that type of thing.
With your house. Your house does not have to look like the Container Store or Target or Walmart. Stores are stores for a reason. Your house is your house for a reason. Clean talk and organize.
Also, like dollar stores are the best place to get cleaners. You know, like usually people don't like shopping at the dollar store because they're like, well, it's bad quality. What's the point? Like the one thing that it's definitely worth shopping there for is the cleaning supplies, the cleaning products. Like they be charging an arm and a leg for cleaning products at regular stores, grocery stores and stuff, but you go to the dollar store and you're like, oh my god, I didn't even know prices went this low for cleaning products. Holy shit. And they work.
Talk. And
they
quite
actually
frankly,
work.
just a lot of these overconsumption trends on TikTok and across social media promote to you that living a life of excess is the way.
Dawn dish soap does everything. Oh my god, do you wash your clothes with Dawn dish soap?
To convey your financial viability. They show us that the more that you can transform your house into a literal store, the more successful you are. It's all a symptom of capitalism, right? Because as I say a million times over,
Lot of glots, thank you for the raid. Hola. Thank you. I hope you had a good stream. You do wash your clothes with Dawn soap sometimes? That's wild.
these trends don't come out of nowhere. They come out of a society that we live in. Capitalism promotes this sense of materialism, this culture of excess. It promotes individual wealth and accumulation over collective well-being. By obsessing over having more and more, we're straining our planet's resources. We're contributing to environmental degradation. It's hurting us all, whether we realize it or not. People like to talk about climate change like it's a thing of the future. It's here right now, and it's affecting you right now. It's affecting your air quality. It's affecting everything about the quality of your life.
I absolutely love watching these restocking videos. I think they're just as satisfying as everybody else. But I just wanted to touch on the fact that this is excessive, and there's a lot of waste that's going to be generated from this. And that's a fact. I really don't think there's any way that our planet and our resources can continue to maintain the level of hyperconsumption that's being glorified by TikTok. I've realized that this level of overconsumption is not just bad for the planet, it's actually bad for us as people. A lot of us watch videos like this from our favorite larger creators, and we start to internalize this idea that in order to be successful or to have made it, you have to have this level of stuff. And I feel like that leads to us feeling inadequate and like we'll never reach this destination that we're trying to get to because it's not realistic. For example, I'm 28 years old. I've been out living on my own in the real world for a decade now. And this is the first time in my life I've felt somewhat financially stable. What I'm trying to communicate is that I have more than I could ever ask for. All of my needs, for the most part, are met. And there's a lot of other people in my position. Our needs are met, and yet we still feel like we don't have enough because this idea of making it in the United States really is having more than your neighbor, having more than you need. And the content that performs well on this platform kind of reiterates that. Internalizing this level of hyperconsumption is bad for our mental health, and it's also very bad for our financial wellness. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are a young person who's just starting out in this very, very challenging world, please don't think that you need an entire back stock of Kristen S shampoo to last you for up to 5 years.
We have to reimagine our values to prioritize human flourishing and collective human flourishing at that, not just individual human flourishing. When we reimagine our values to prioritize human flourishing and community building and sustainability over material accumulation, only then can we break free from the shackles of excess and truly, truly rediscover what it means to have a meaningful life. And if you're ready to take that journey with me beyond materialism, definitely hit that subscribe button, like this video. I have so much more content about that. And I would definitely love to hear from you all in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the overconsumption and hoarding that's promoted on Clean Talk and Organize and Restock Talk? I would love to hear from you all. And again, if you want more content like this, definitely hit that like button and subscribe.
Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video for sure. Okay, I think I'm gonna watch one more video, and I'm also gonna eat too the honey sesame chicken.
Greetings and welcome to the channel.
We're gonna watch a Harlan video, yay! But yeah, I'm gonna be right back after I play the video. Well, I'm not gonna play the entire video and then come back at the end. I'm probably gonna come back in like 5 minutes or so. But yeah, I'll be watching on my phone.
If you're coming back, welcome, welcome. I have to be honest with you guys. I'm not very well traveled, and I'm not the only one. Only about 10% of the population has ever left the state that they were born or lived in, with the average state visited being about 12.5. You can probably guess what states US citizens tend to visit on vacation the most. California has Disneyland, Nevada has Las Vegas, New York is New York, and Florida is where old people go to die. And it also has Disney World. I've seen very little of this big, big country. Also, what does anyone even do in a place like Iowa or Arkansas? You probably didn't even notice that that's actually Nebraska and this is actually Ohio. The thing is, every place you go has an interesting history and fascinating people. Most of that history is pretty fucking horrific, but there are some good parts here and there, and it is objectively fascinating. Some places you have to look pretty hard to find it, as history tends to be forgotten when it's not sought out and explored. I would go so far as to say some of the lesser traveled places have a more fascinating history than the big cities with their theme parks and architecture and infamous catastrophes and events. We don't appreciate the small town oddities and weird histories as much as we should. So, a couple weeks ago, I used an old Southwest voucher to visit my dad who lives in Kansas. Not exactly a weekend in Cabo, but being someone who actively avoids turning into an insufferable complainer, I try to look at every experience as an opportunity to learn something new, especially if it means being able to visit one of those odd little towns in the Midwest like Branson, Missouri. A town I'd learned about thanks to a niche little internet video. I saw this as an opportunity not only to go on a short road trip with my dad to a town that has lived rent-free in my head for about a decade now, but to see if my preconceived notions about the Midwest would be proven wrong. Maybe Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri were more than what I'd been led to believe as being populated by stereotypical hillbilly bootlickers. I'll be the first to admit that I do live in a relatively safe West Coast bubble, and I thought it was important that I put my opinions and biases to the test by actually experiencing something that was maybe a little uncomfortable. And while I wouldn't be turning brown on a beach sipping a fruity drink listening to The Girl from Ipanema on repeat for 48 hours, surely there was something meaningful I'd gained from flying 3,500 miles and spending a weekend in Trump country. When I expressed interest in checking out Branson, the Las Vegas of the Ozarks, my dad did what any dad would do. He booked a weekend of activities and scheduled a whole itinerary for us. It's very generous to compare it to Las Vegas, as its amenities are closer to what a carnival might offer if one took over a small city. There's no gambling or billion-dollar LED spheres, just a couple dozen small theaters in varying degrees of degradation whose main function seems to be to sell cheap Branson branded souvenirs made by some Midwest performer or establishment you've never heard of. I don't know what I was expecting from a country bluegrass music town, but I definitely wasn't prepared for the amount of conservative musicians proselytizing conspicuous consumption and pro-military propaganda that were presented in full bedazzled display for 2 straight days. My regular viewers are probably familiar with my politics at this point, but I feel like I haven't really talked about my taste in music. I know I've mentioned growing up going to hardcore punk shows and being a little emo kid for a bit, and I still listen to the occasional black metal and grindcore. I'm also into folk, pop, 17th century Baroque, grunge, bossa nova, 60s R&B, and jazz. Some jazz. I'm not a maniac. But I also love me some good old-fashioned country. Marty Robbins, Dolly Parton, Waylon William Williams. So I was genuinely interested to see what this country music haven nestled in the Ozark Mountains had to offer. I don't want to spoil anything, but I was pretty disappointed. My couple days in Branson were sobering to say the least, where I couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing. Mainly hearing. I think I'm still processing it. My dad is probably watching this, so I will also say I did have a good time going on what was essentially a road trip with him, visiting quirky museums and playing mini golf. Would I recommend taking a trip there though? Being the neurotic traveler that I am, I got to the airport way too early and had to make my own fun, spinning around in a terminal chair like a fidgety 8-year-old, wandering around checking out the confusing corporate airport art and cringing at some local businesses with edgy branding. Very cool. There aren't really direct flights to a lot of cities in the Midwest, and I had to take 2, where then I'd have to drive 2 hours to Parsons where my dad lives, which might explain why Kansas has a 13th the population of California. It's a pain in the ass to get anywhere. We of course stopped at a Cracker Barrel as we left Tulsa, the famous country restaurant that I thought only had locations in the Midwest, but there's one in Sacramento, so maybe I am more sheltered than I thought. I always imagined it as a country-themed chain restaurant that would have a similar corporate aesthetic as a Red Lobster or an Outback Steakhouse. While there's nothing slick about this place, they do all share the same design philosophy. An insulting and tawdry monument to oaky eateries that all have the same deer head and musket mounted over a hearth. I also didn't know that the full title is Cracker Barrel Old Country Store. It's a general store first and a restaurant second. The first thing you're greeted with is a tourist trap gift shop selling gimmick sodas and Bush beer soap that surprisingly didn't smell like the floor of a dive bar.
It doesn't smell bad, actually. It smells pretty good. I mean, I would just be embarrassed to be using Bush mountain-sized beer soap, and I would never tell anybody. I used to have...
It says games.
Oh, it's okay. It's like stuff you do on the toilet, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I was severely disappointed that there wasn't a single barrel of crackers in the whole place, which made me wonder if the crackers in question were actually the customers. It was. We were on the road early for another 2-hour drive to Branson.
Can't believe this guy has a platform saying slurs. Jesus. You kiss your grandmother with that mouth?
The next day, off Broadway of the Ozarks. It took us much longer than that to get there because we took the road less traveled and drove through the Tar Creek Superfund site near Pitcher, Oklahoma, which my dad was oddly excited to show me. It's an old lead and zinc mining operation from the 1850s that is now a toxic wasteland. It was declared a Superfund site in 1983 because of almost 100 years of unregulated mining where lead waste leached into the soil and groundwater that caused adverse health effects among the population. A fun roadside attraction that also causes neurological damage in children. We could clearly see the open chat piles from the road, 75 million ton mountains of contaminated limestone and dolomite that were expelled from the mine. The only warning or deterrent were a few chain link fences, which obviously hadn't stopped people from using them over the years as sledding hills for kids, a lover's lane for teenagers, and a makeshift proving grounds for dirt bikes and the high school's track team. There's nothing more American than having a foot race across cancer-causing mining debris. We also stopped at the Ozark Land General Store because how could we not check out this big red barn? Unfortunately, it's basically the exact same as the Cracker Barrel General Store in that it had countless junk items made in China that probably contain the same levels of lead as the Tar Creek Superfund site. When I think of a country general store, I imagine an old irascible cowpoke selling beef jerky or antiques from a bygone era who speaks in riddles like a harbinger of foreshadowing, telling you, you best turn around before it's too late. Not the exact same shit you'd find at a Dollar General. The realization that even small towns are victims of capitalist junk trading was demoralizing. That being said, it is quite beautiful out there. Most of the terrain surrounding the Ozarks is pretty flat, but the Ozarks themselves are actually quite mountainous. The amount of hills we ascended and descended once we entered Branson made it feel like a city-sized roller coaster as we passed dinosaur-themed miniature golf courses, carnival rides, Technicolor theaters, and billboard after billboard. You might be wondering, why Branson at all? A hokey little pit stop of a town. Like I mentioned before, it's thanks to the internet, of course. My favorite YouTube channel is Red Letter Media, who have a series titled Best of the Worst, where they watch strange, forgotten videotapes they've accumulated over the years. They've watched everything from homemade infotainment videos like Motherload and Wormmania, to the Christian propaganda films SOS and Carman, to gimmick cash grab tapes like The Instant Adoring Boyfriend or How to Get Revenge featuring Linda Blair in a court-ordered starring role. Allegedly. In one episode, they watched a video titled The Shoji Tabuchi Show. The episode is 10 years old now, and I have no idea when I watched it for the first time. Someone, somehow, uploaded the VHS they watched to YouTube, and it was originally filmed in 1997. I've been fascinated by Shoji ever since and have had so many questions about where he came from and why he came. So when given the opportunity to see the hallowed ground he used to perform on, I had to take it. I literally only wanted to go to Branson for the sole purpose of seeing Shoji Tabuchi in giant marquee letters. Shoji was a bluegrass and country violinist. Technically, it's called a fiddle when you're playing country. Seems a little classist to me. He learned to play in Japan as a boy and in the 60s met King of Country Roy Acuff at a concert in Osaka, whose music had inspired Shoji to pursue country and bluegrass. He would eventually move to the US where he'd reconnect with Acuff some years later, who then arranged for Shoji to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. In 1980, Shoji moved to Branson and began performing throughout the city, eventually opening his own theater a decade later. The theater briefly closed in 2017 after a backstage fire, reopened in 2018 until the pandemic, and according to a 2020 press release on the incredible graphic design is my passion website shoji.com, all shows are postponed in 2021. Shoji sadly died in 2023 of pancreatic cancer, and his theater has sat on the market in disrepair since 2022 for a measly $2 million, which seems like a good deal when you can't even find a house, let alone a whole-ass theater for under $1 million. He's permeated my thoughts all these years because when I say bluegrass violinist, what's the first image that pops into your head? Probably someone like this, right? Not an awkwardly charismatic Japanese man with a bowl cut hosting a laser light show playing a NASA-designed violin.
This one was specially designed for me by NASA.
He seems like a genuinely talented musician and lover of the genre, but after experiencing the mood in Branson, it was clear to me he was successful for all the wrong reasons. A foreign oddity who had a funny accent. I personally think it's great that he was attempting to modernize a genre that will always feel like it's from a bygone era, but that's hard to do when the majority of your audience are elderly Christians living in the Ozarks, a place not well known for being all that progressive. These people have probably never even seen a Japanese person, let alone a Japanese violinist, fiddler. Which begs the question, why Branson, Shoji? You see, Branson exists in a strange little pocket dimension in the Midwest that has a long history as a haven for bluegrass and country musicians. From the 1880s to the mid-1960s, the town grew thanks to a few local attractions like Marble Cave and Silver Dollar City and the locals who would host underground Deliverance-style musicals in the extensive cave systems.
After years of performing underground, the family took a leap of faith and built the first theater on Highway 76.
Over the years, more folks moved in to open their own attractions like the world's largest toy museum and the Hillbilly Theater. And by 1967, the town was home to 50 theaters, and by the 90s, performers of all kinds had become mainstays. Glenn Campbell, Andy Williams, the Bald Knobbers, and of course, Shoji Tabuchi. The VHS that Red Letter Media watched was a 2-hour live performance from one of Shoji's shows. For a long time, I thought it was a one-of-a-kind, like a stand-up special that was filmed on one night that would then be sold as a commemorative tape for years to come. It wasn't until the very last show my dad and I attended that I learned the theaters film every show. Most of these theaters perform 2 or 3 times a day, 5 days a week, so that's at least like 600 recorded shows every year from just one theater. Over the decades, they've churned out countless VHSs and DVDs just from one town. They're single-handedly keeping DVD-Rs alive. After each performance, you can go to the little merch booth and buy a DVD of the show you just saw to relive the sometimes literal magic of something like Reza, Edge of Illusion. Yes, Branson has their own magician. And of course, he's a Chris Angel knockoff. While I didn't get to see Shoji perform live because of him being dead and all, I still had to see his theater in person. It's a testament to Shoji and his wife Dorothy in 1980s architectural design with its lilac facade and those wavy glass blocks. It's a rundown and sad sight that still showcases the faded posters of Shoji's past glory that now sits in a decaying, vacant parking lot. It was probably the best time I had in Branson. My dad had booked 4 shows in 2 days for us while we were in Branson. Day 1 was the Showboat, Branson Belle, and the Dolly Parton Stampede. Day 2 was Hits of the 60s and the Presley Family Jubilee. I should point out that these shows are not exactly designed for younger audiences, and many have not updated their performances in probably several decades. When bluegrass and country were still chart-topping genres, folks in their 20s and 30s were probably losing their minds to see Glenn Campbell. But as with most small towns, whatever industry that was the lifeblood of the local economy has been shipped overseas or shut down due to poisoning the land with toxic waste, leaving very few job opportunities. The population has moved away as well, in search of greener pastures, making the average age somewhere in the low 60s. Because of this, the shows cater to the tastes of an older generation and aren't exactly the kind of night out millennials and Gen Z go for in the 21st century. They just want to vape and watch Twitch. The Branson Belle is a recreation paddle boat that was supposed to actually go out on Table Rock Lake, but due to wind, it stayed docked. I assume for the safety of the performers and servers, because even the slightest turbulence would be a workman's comp nightmare for the owners. The show was a mediocre montage of local performers singing top 40s rock and country classics like CCR, the Beatles, and Kiss for some reason, a theme that would persist throughout the rest of the weekend. Many of the singers and musicians seemed to be jobbing performers and would appear in other shows at different theaters around the town. I hadn't really thought about how even in the arts, it is normal to work what is essentially a musician's 9 to 5. Not every musician makes it to Keith Richards or Slash levels of fame, and they're probably fine with having a steady income still being able to do the thing they love. It was still just a little disconcerting to be confronted with the fact that these artists spend their days playing the same radio songs over and over again to a sea of gray hair. Music isn't always glamorous, and I accept that. But the thought burrowed deeper into my skull with every rendition of Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman I had to sit through. Every show had some kind of host, and the Branson Belle Showboat host was a comedy magician. The absolute worst combination. Comedy is supposed to be fun, and magic is objectively not. I wasn't expecting Bill Burr or Tig Notaro levels of genius writing, but this was intellectually offensive. His jokes made me feel like the dumbest person on the planet because the punchlines were so obvious that I should have been able to guess them. It's like he ripped them right out of a novelty joke book you'd find in your grandpa's bathroom. It was insulting. The end of the show closed with a patriotic support the troops and God bless America monologue, something I was not prepared for at the end of this show or each of the subsequent ones. Some more audacious and inherently contradictory than the others.
If there are any veterans or service members that are in this room today, would you please stand so we can recognize you?
I didn't think anything of it at the time, but as it continued, it made me feel more and more uncomfortable just how much Branson loves Jesus. It's a lot. They love him a lot. I walked around the deck of this pretty awesome paddle boat hoping for a bit of authenticity. Something.
Bruh, I'm so full, but there's one piece left. The one piece. I know what I must do.
I would later realize was a lot to ask and honestly probably a stupid thing to expect from theaters located across the street from places like the Bigfoot Fun Park and the very poorly constructed Wonderworks building. When I think paddle boat, I imagine an Old West floating casino with paisley carpets, wall sconces, and maybe an old antique roulette wheel. But no, it was a drab theater space that would have been more fitting in a retirement home than as the interior of a 19th century paddle boat. Everything about it was sterile and cold, both figuratively and literally. literally because they were blasting the AC the entire time. I assumed to keep the septuagenarians awake. They offered souvenir photos as you boarded before entering another gift shop entrance with all the same lead-contaminated gift shop junk. I was trapped in Midwest tchotchke hell. Before the next show, we took in the Midwest weather where I reflected on my experience so far.
What does tchotchke mean?
Prepared for what was in store for me at what I can only describe as the Midwest version of medieval times. Dolly Parton's Midwestern Times dinner and Civil War reenactment. To be fair, Dolly Parton's Stampede dinner show was pretty impressive with a few caveats. Before entering the indoor rodeo space, you got to see all the horsies that would be performing in the Dixieland-themed rodeo tournament. You enter a pre-show bar area before being funneled through the fewest entrances needed for a building to not be deemed a fire hazard, and pop out into an enormous arena space. You're packed shoulder to shoulder in the stands to maximize profits, of course, with barely enough elbow room to eat the assembly line dinner that was very unremarkable. This was, however, by far the most elaborate thing we saw. Pyrotechnics, horse stunts, aerial acrobatics, lumberjack contests, a local idiot character named Skeeter.
Skeeter, do you suffer from insanity? Oh no, sir, I enjoy every minute of it.
It had everything. The show unfortunately had an offensive and tone-deaf narrative conceit that pitted one side of the audience against the other, North versus South. I didn't see any Confederate flags, but the implication couldn't be ignored even if the North-South label is literally just because it's the North and South side of the amphitheater. The show also did nothing to dispel the Southern stupidity stereotypes. If anything, it leaned into it for the audience's entertainment by having Skeeter occasionally come out as the comedy relief moron who tries to pull one over on the host to little enthusiasm from the crowd. That wasn't the only problematic thing about the show. It got a lot worse. At about the halfway point, we were treated to a black light segment with a Native American shaman character who releases some doves that turn into a human woman, I think. She descends from the rafters and does a choreographed aerial horse dance with the racist shaman that would make Iron Eyes Cody blush. I don't know about you guys, but I thought we were all done with the whole wearing a headdress on Halloween thing and calling office meetings powwows. But not in the Midwest. The fact that this was a pretty big part of the show itself shows just how normalized the appropriation and othering of marginalized groups is in the Midwest. Similar to how shoji was received all those years ago. And as far as I could tell, none of the performers were Native American. Not that that would excuse the inclusion of the magical Indian trope. I was honestly horrified as this caricature of a shaman shambled about covered in Batman Forever UV body paint as the stands of crackers gawked and jeered. It was especially upsetting because this place is owned by Dolly Parton herself, who, for being a good old country gal, seems relatively progressive and even removed the Dixie from the show's branding in 2018 after recognizing changing attitudes. So how the hell this character is still part of the show is unforgivable. This show ended with a God-fearing closer, although in context was a bit more expected, still unacceptable. The second day was an afternoon show of #1 hits of the 60s at the Clay Cooper Theater that was a storybook walk through time. The host and producer of the show came out in a black suit and a skinny tie sporting a flat top haircut who had to be someone's grandfather. He gave off an air of Arrested Development who longed for the good old days.
By the way, chat, one of the things that I would like to mention is Harland is such a gem of a YouTuber, and I really wish that you guys would go subscribe and like his videos because he really deserves it. So yeah, go gas him up, okay? Maybe leave a comment. Oh my god, haha, you're so funny and I love your content, and OMG, wow. I don't know.
When times were simpler and women couldn't have their own bank accounts without their husband's permission. This time we were seated front and center where we got an eyeful of the Spirit Halloween quality costumes and the exaggerated facial expressions of the singers as they emoted to the back of the auditorium, twisting their faces into horrifying Melpomene masks. The whole show was a rose-tinted retelling of the 60s, considering what we know the time period to have really been like, thanks to mountains of declassified CIA documents. Between the gaudy renditions of Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changin' and Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman, again, there were musical breaks that talked about the socio-political climate of the era. Somber platitudes about the horrors of Vietnam were offered as the host made ageist jokes about how kids nowadays don't know what a rotary phone is. The civil rights movement was also given a brief shout out, while the jaunty tunes of the Mamas and the Papas played in the background. Yikes. The combination of swooning Beach Boys songs and the occasional accompanying image of a new toaster or war crime was jarring to say the least, as the performers jumped around like naive court jesters. It was 2 hours of being accosted by cloying 40-year-old theater kids dressed in a tacky pastiche of hippie spandex singing songs about teenage romance. The more I watched the romanticized performance art propaganda piece, the more I felt the ghost of Ronald Reagan creeping in from the darkest corners of the theater as I tried to avoid eye contact with performers vigorously chewing the scene.
Dude, why can't I go a single day without being reminded of Ronald Reagan? Like, I don't know any peace. I'm always, every day I wake up and Ronald Reagan. It's a nightmare, truly.
Scenery from the front row. Even more upsetting was the show's patriotic closing that asked the veterans in the audience to stand and be recognized for their service with only a little bit of religious preaching. The ham-fisted tribute made my head spin after being confronted with a whitewashed history lesson of one of the most active socio-political eras in American history that was filled with government-inflicted violence. How could these people sing protest songs and songs about free love and then say with a straight face, "Thank you, Jesus," and the military-industrial complex? It was almost over and my head was throbbing from 2 straight days of being blasted in the face by the same top 40 singles antithetical to the very existence of Midwest ideals. I was actually looking forward to the Presley Family
Whoa,
Jubilee.
that meme was too fast. When your buddy asks you how country went from anti-authoritarian working class music to being widely considered an inherently conservative and regressive genre.
To the very existence of Midwest ideals. I was actually looking forward to the Presley Family Jubilee because I knew it would be some pretty mellow country and folk music, not the vulgar sounds of the 60s or the exploding racist horse show. I should clarify for anyone who might be confused by the name. This family has no relation to the much more famous Elvis Presley. These Presleys were cave dwellers, and I mean that only in a slightly derogatory way. Decades ago, the Presleys performed in the underground cave stages of the Ozark Mountains, who eventually decided to get with the times and open their own above-ground theater in 1967. They play a lot of gospel and religious country tunes whose show clearly hasn't evolved beyond the 1950s. Or 1850s for that matter. If you're not a Christian conservative veteran or a Civil War time traveler, you're not gonna get much out of this. I will say that all the musicians at these shows seemed extremely talented. I'm no Anthony Fantano.
I don't know, man. If they're playing Shenandoah, I'm showing up.
I've been around a lot of good, bad, and very exceptional musicians in my life, so I think I have a decent enough ear and can confidently say they were all very good, even if the execution left something to be desired and was racist. The host could have been a perfect stand-in for Sam Elliott in Tombstone, who had a seat-rattling baritone that rivaled Johnny Cash.
I'll hang around here and sing a little bit of these working man blues.
Even the Southern Imbecile characters, yes, there were more than one, were shredding. One of them was gliding around on the stage in roller skates wearing Jiminy Glick glasses playing the guitar. It's kind of awesome. This show consists of several generations of Presleys, particularly the now elderly Gary Presley, who plays the simpleton patriarch Herkimer, and his actual son Eric, who plays Cecil, the roller skating guitar playing idiot, and his son Ben, who makes a couple of brief appearances as the unimaginatively named Cecil Jr. I guess they didn't want to be that stereotypical and give him a more egregious country bumpkin name like Guthrie or Jethro. These characters come out for a few, and I say this in the most derogatory way possible, skits, to stretch the 2-hour runtime and serve the same purpose as Skeeter in the Stampede show. Tell outdated popsicle stick jokes that are only slightly offensive and make jabs at woke culture.
He drinks so much he has to hang on to the grass to keep from falling off the earth sometimes.
Wow.
He's amazing. He's in a terrible state.
Terrible state.
California.
Oh, yeah.
California.
Yeah.
They speak in an even more grating and obnoxious dialect that feels a little too close to an impression of someone with a mental illness or learning disability.
We was both massage therapists.
Yes.
At the health spa.
Right.
Down at the health spa.
Yes, sir, but they fired us.
Well, how come they fired you?
They said we rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
I took the most offense to these characters because not only are they punching down, but are Midwestern and Southern caricatures of the people that paid to see a live performance of some classic country only to then be flogged with stereotypes of the hillbilly who can't read good. While the musicianship was very good and the songs were a decent mix
It's so funny because the hillbilly who can't read good sees that joke and they're like, he's right, I can't read good. Oh, that's so funny.
Country and slower gospel, the messaging was so self-serious and unwaveringly patriotic and religious. I honestly don't even know if that's a valid critique considering the demographic and location. You gotta play to what your audience expects to a degree, I get that, but this show in particular felt like a living time capsule when we weren't being accosted by non-comedy skits that had me slumping into the crack of my chair out of embarrassment. Every once in a while I'd look around the theater to see how others are reacting, and less than half the theater seemed genuinely entertained by what they were seeing. The really old people were just kind of sitting there watching in complete stillness. I hope they weren't dead. Again, at the end of the show, they dropped the big red curtain where the host made a melancholy address to the audience about how times sure have changed, but God will provide, or whatever.
But we're kind of proud of that rag old flag. You see, we got that hole in that flag up there when Washington brought her across to Delaware. And she got a powder burn the night that Francis Scott Key sat watching her writing, "Oh, say, can you see?" And she got a little rip down in New Orleans with Packingham and Jackson tugging at her seams. And she almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag. But she waved on, though. And then on Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from Bertha gun. And she turned blood red in World War II. She hung limp and low a time or two. And then there was Korea and Vietnam.
And Vietnam.
Iraq and Afghanistan. But she went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. But she's waved for my ships upon the briny sand.
In between the shows, we patroned a few local establishments like the world's largest toy museum that would have been cool if it didn't feel like an excuse for a hoarder who owned it to not throw anything away, and played 18 holes of dinosaur-themed mini golf.
It's a bounce, it's around, and he is not in the hole.
Yeah, really put some stink on it. I only had about a day and a half left in my trip and spent the rest of the time with my dad watching movies and going through old family photos that I had never seen. I found a picture of my great-great-grandfather, who I'm named after, and a few newspaper clippings and keepsakes from my dad's time in college back when he was cool. He's not cool. He's not. It was nice getting to spend some quality time with him regardless of the bizarre experience in Branson that I brought on myself, admittedly. So, was I proven wrong about my preconceived ideas of the Midwest? No, absolutely not. It unfortunately just reinforced them. Do I think all Midwesterners are cave-dwelling evangelical military bootlickers? Also, no. There are plenty of folks who live in the cornfields and super fun sites of America who are not uber religious, anti-LGBTQ military fanatics. Take Gilbert Baker, for example, an artist, activist, and the creator of the Pride flag who grew up in Parsons, the city my dad lives in. What I did learn is that everywhere you go, there are people trying to make a difference, educating themselves or others in the local population who are typically completely content living in their little bubble whose idea of good, clean fun is a sojourn to a place like Branson. From what I saw, one of the ways people—
Wait, sojourn is like a word and not just an Overwatch character? Oh my god, it means a temporary stay? I totally thought that was just like That was the first time I had ever encountered that word, is in Overwatch. So, wow.
People become repressed, intolerant, and frighteningly pro-military is oftentimes due to the external forces.
I learned 2 new words during this YouTube video. That's, if that doesn't show you how good of a YouTuber Harland is, I don't know what will.
Influencing a population's values and tacit
What an expansive
ignorance.
vocabulary.
The isolation of living in a flyover state where everyone looks the same and your beliefs and opinions aren't challenged reinforces those behaviors and ideals. Couple that with your only access to entertainment that might broaden your worldview being tainted by gatekeepers who rewrite the histories and perpetuate archaic norms more fitting for the 1800s, and yeah, it makes sense how you might turn out to be an unaccepting Southern imbecile. In a lot of ways, it's not completely their fault they believe what they believe, but man, was it shocking to witness a population's blind allegiance to a government that doesn't give a shit about them. We all live in a bubble, me included, but I think we have a duty to put ourselves in uncomfortable situations that might open our minds and widen our understanding. Even if that understanding leads to the same conclusion, because now I know I don't ever need to go back. The most uncomfortable experiences can broaden your horizons, and boy was I uncomfortable. This isn't to say I hated my time in Branson either. Like I said at the top, everywhere has its own interesting and weird history which has value. As someone who loves a good museum and the odd attraction, there were genuinely interesting things to see and do and learn there. As much as this was a pretty harsh critique of Branson that was hopefully interesting for you, the viewer, it also serves as a memory of that time I spent with my dad in a weird place that I'll be able to go back and watch decades from now. Just like I was compelled to visit Branson because of a weird internet video, maybe this will serve a similar purpose for one of you to go and see some strange town or culture when given the opportunity that might enrich your life in some way. Maybe you won't be proven wrong or have your opinions changed, but maybe you'll get to play some dinosaur mini golf. It's kind of the best outcome. That's the video. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you made it this far, that means you're special. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Again, it was a bit different than my normal content because I was able to, you know, go somewhere and essentially film a vlog in a lot of ways. I did learn that I need to shoot way more B-roll. I don't think I've got enough to cut to. So thank you for bearing with me as I try some different things on the channel. Please be sure you go like and share and comment and subscribe. Go follow me on Instagram for updates about the channel, and that's it. Yeah, thanks so much again for sticking around, supporting the channel. You guys are great. And until next time, vanish.
Yeah, make sure go subscribe to Harland. Like I said, underrated YouTuber, makes really good content. I love his videos. They're always very good. This channel has some fun videos. Oh. Ooh, let's look at this one. Wait, hold on. Have you ever watched any of Flesh Simulator's videos? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Oh, what? A quick one. This is what I see. A quick one regarding the heat capacity of an egg. Replicating Cold War surveillance tech. Top 6 molecules to avoid ingesting. Cooking. I'll subscribe. But I think I want to watch this right now, especially because I kind of got to get up and get more water.
I haven't been to Walt Disney World in over.
we're going to complain about how expensive Disney World is. Even though, actually, I've been to Disney World before, and I feel like the only thing that I have a fond memory of is Epcot. And it's the soda fountain. Like the multicultural soda fountain. That was like the coolest thing. I was like, oh, Mexican soda. Meanwhile, I'm from California, like Southern California, and could probably just buy Mexican soda. But you know what? That manzana fucking apple soda is so fucking good. But I tried other stuff, of course, too. It's like a soda fountain with sodas from all around the world, not just Mexico, obviously. It's like there's a lot of other things, but like my favorite thing is definitely the red apple Mexican soda. That was my favorite soda out of all the sodas of the world. And I don't know, I just have a fond memory of that soda fountain. Like I wish, like I find myself craving the soda fountain. Like I'm like, I wish I had that soda fountain. Like I want that soda fountain. I just love like soda fountains where you have like a bunch of different options. Like I want like an ultimate soda fountain that has all of the sodas. I think that's why I like it so much. I think it's so cool. Like I love those those soda fountains that are like at Five Guys, like the futuristic ones where you can like make like, I don't know, you can make like cherry Coke or vanilla Coke or orange Coke. It's like you can like mix flavor. I think that's so fucking cool. I love it.
4 years. And that's weird for me,
yeah,
as I was someone who had an annual pass and went many times throughout the year. But after the pandemic, I really just didn't feel the need to return after a palpable creative stagnation.
Yeah, if there's one thing I'm thankful capitalism created, it's those soda fountains, okay? That's one thing I gotta give it to capitalism. Those are fucking cool.
And the introduction of blatant anti-consumer
The Coke
practices.
freestyle machine,
In fact,
yes.
the company has constantly raised prices, eliminated formerly complimentary services, and making the
speaking of
whole
drinks,
theme
I need
park
to go get
experience
more water.
a lot more complicated than it ever used to be. Now, a Disney vacation is a costly proposition, more than it ever has been. But how much exactly? Well, I wanted to find out. I'm going to return to the parks for the first time since 2019, pay out of pocket for an entire single-day trip to Disney, and find out how much it all costs in the end. Okay, so when I say I'm doing a trip to Disney, I'll be doing the core aspects that would make up the average Disney World vacation. It'll be the things most people traveling here will do when they're on a Disney-only trip. Things like transportation, hotel lodging, park tickets, park add-ons, as well as food. For this analysis, we'll be going under some assumptions too. Mainly doing the type of trip Disney wants you to have, meaning we'll be doing a trip within the Disney bubble. So we'll be taking the average Disney World family vacation within the property, meaning we won't be staying at any third-party hotels, getting food elsewhere, or anything else that might save you a few extra dollars. We'll also be doing a more middle-of-the-road trip, staying at a moderate hotel for 2 people and not getting any fancy dinners or special merchandise, like this diamond-encrusted Cinderella's castle that's for sale at the Magic Kingdom for $285,000. It's not even one of a kind, it's 1 out of 50. Anyways, I'll of course talk about some alternatives to this trip and throw in my own opinions at the end. But for now, let's stay as objective as possible and watch my credit card evaporate as we take off to Orlando, Florida. So we start here at the Orlando International Airport, and we need a way to get to our Disney resort. Since 2005, Disney has had a complimentary bus service that shuttles guests to and from the airport called Disney's Magical Express. It was a fantastic and very clever service that was free to the consumer, which meant it incentivized people to stay at Disney resorts and kept them within the property. But that service was discontinued in 2022, being replaced with a paid option that is now operated by Mears. Now, for logistical reasons while filming this video, I opted for a rental car instead. But we'll keep to our trip, and for the sake of this video, say we took the bus to our resort, which for 2 people on a round trip would cost $67. Not a great start for a service that used to be free, though I will point out that it is cheaper than alternatives like Uber, but it's also not as direct, as the standard bus service makes multiple stops. When we do arrive though, we actually find a pretty great resort. This is Disney's Port Orleans Riverside. It began construction in the late 1980s and opened as Disney's Dixie Landings Resort in 1992. This followed the opening of its other half, which was then known as Port Orleans. That was until both resorts rebranded, this one to Riverside and the other to the French Quarter. Both resorts were designed by a Florida-based architectural firm, and Riverside in particular has some nostalgia with me, as it's where my family stayed during our Disney trips. It's also what I consider to be the best moderate resort on property. We got a king bedroom here and were placed in the Arcadian House, one of 4 antebellum-style manors. Overlooking the courtyard fountain, I thought this room was pretty nice. We had plenty of room, a nice table setup, and a large TV. I like the wooden furniture and especially love this piece of concept artwork, presumably from the late 1960s. The bathroom vanity is in theme, as are the faucets, and while this room layout definitely shows its
The Coke Freestyle can be yours for about $2,000. Dude, if I ever get really close to a rich person and they ask me what I want for my birthday, I'm gonna ask for a Coke Freestyle machine. Definitely.
stage with the closet essentially being part of the bathroom sink area, I think it's totally fine. Though this curtain separating the bathroom to the living area is absolutely hideous. The bed was comfortable enough, as were the linens, and it was nice that we got a unique corner room which allowed lots of light to shine through our 2 windows. Now, it definitely has that 80s and 90s style mega resort with motel style outdoor walkways, and that honestly is a bit of a downside, as despite our corner room, anyone walking by can easily see right into your space if you have the curtains open. So there really is no privacy if you want natural light. Regardless, I think this is passable for the money. But what really shines is when you're outside of the room. I think this is a beautiful resort with plenty of places to explore and relax.
Hold on. You got clapped. Sorry, I'm like trying to find the link. Here we go. For when you're a millionaire. I can't believe you can just buy these things. Yeah, I don't even know. I tried to copy the link and put it in, but it didn't work. Equipment. If you go to the equipment, Coca-Cola Freestyle. Oh, there's like 3 models of them. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay.
We were in the Magnolia Bend area with all of our buildings.
Oh my god, Mortag, thank you for gifting that sub to Jaina. My alerts are not working and I don't know how to fix them, so I think this is just how things are now. I will thank you when I notice.
Themed to these large manors, all with different architectural looks and landscaping. But if you want a more Louisiana swamp style, there's also the Alligator Bayou area with ultra lush landscaping. The main lobby provides a beautiful check-in area with themed marble desks and a central hardwood floor seating area. The lobby building also features a themed gift shop, a comfortable fireplace lit lounge attached to a bar, which also happens to have one of the best little known shows performed by pianist and comedian Bob Jackson. Right beside this bar and lounge is a sit-down restaurant, and beyond that is a large quick service hall that has pretty good food and a really good atmosphere, with a lot of kinetic energy, with this centerpiece crank being turned by the large paddle wheel outside. The whole area is really well themed and also provides boat service down the river to other resorts and Disney Springs. The pool is also great, as it's located on a small island with a secluded themed bar, play area, and a whole fishing dock. I really love this resort, and I don't think the price was too horrendous. I got a discounted rate at $249 a night. but that really turned out to be $280 a night with tax. So to start our Disney day, we went to go eat breakfast at Riverside's dining hall, and we both got the bounty platter, which was pretty good apart from the eggs. The platter is $12.79 per person, and that came out to an okay $27.24 with tax. But we are at Disney, so let's go to the parks. From here, we can hop on Disney's
Dude, I'm already disgusted by the breakfast price.
complimentary bus transportation from the resorts. Now again, I haven't been to the parks in a while, and when I was coming here often, I had an annual pass. Since then, Disney has completely reformatted the annual pass system and bumped up the prices for both the passes and regular day tickets. We chose to do the classic park, Magic Kingdom, which also happens to be the most expensive park. Unlike Days of the Past, Disney now has variable pricing for each park depending on when you're going. Magic Kingdom was the most expensive park out of the four and cost $154.
I always feel like such an asshole when I would go out with friends. Now I feel more justified, but back when I was like younger, you know, like 20 something, and I would like go out with my friends to like, I don't know, like Knott's Berry Farm or Knott's Scary Farm in Halloween time. And people would be like buying food and like drinks, and I would be sitting there like, are you fucking kidding me? You want me to buy this drink for $20? No. Like I'd be sitting there complaining about the prices and they'd be like, we can't take you anywhere, bitch. Why are you always complaining about the prices? You know you're gonna have to spend money when you go out. And I'm like, but I didn't know I was gonna have to spend this much. Like, fuck.
A person, making it $328 for both of us with tax for one day. As expensive as that sounds, at least it's not on a more expensive day, like in late November, where day tickets can get as high as $184.
You ever feel like a third wheel? What's your trick? I feel like the best thing to do is to just tell yourself that you belong there. That's like, it's like, you know, it's a mental game. You just like, when you start questioning yourself, like, am I lovable? Do these people really want me there? Just like tell yourself, yes, I am lovable and these people want me here and I'm valid, you know, just have fun. It's hard. I know it sounds like such a oversimplified answer, but it really does work. Like hyping yourself up in your head.
A person. So apparently everyone else thought this was a good deal too.
I'm imagining you and your friends riding Thunder Mountain and you're yelling about modern monetary theory. Yes. Why do they have variable pricing for tickets? Are you talking about for Disneyland? Disney World?
As I unknowingly picked a bad day to visit the Magic Kingdom. Crowds were insane today, which meant lines were long at basically every attraction in the park. With that being the case, you'll probably want to use FastPass, a way to skip the lines. It was a system that was first introduced in 1999 and was free to use with the cost of your ticket. Then there was FastPass Plus, a reformat of the same system, this time mostly digital, that I found kind of annoying but dealt with. And then that was changed to a system called Lightning Lane in 2021. And that's because Disney discontinued FastPass and replaced it with a similar Pick 3 attraction system. But in this iteration...
Oh, they got rid of FastPass? Like entirely? Hi, Battle.
They now charge you money for it. But Lightning Lane is not necessarily its own thing. You can only access Lightning Lane when you purchase Genie Plus. Confused yet?
I haven't been to Disney World. Well, I've only been to Disney World once, okay? And that was like when I was like 13 or 12 or something. And the last time I went to Disneyland, which is the one in California, was when I was like 16, I think. Or maybe, no, I was older. I was like 16 or 17 or 18. But yeah, I haven't been in a really long time. It's been, what is that? Like, I'm trying to do math in my head. It's been like 6 years. No, that's more than that, way more than that. I'm so bad at math. Okay. No, it's been like 10 years. It's been longer than 6. It's been like 10.
Well, it gets even more convoluted, because not only do you have to pay for the privilege to now use Lightning Lane, there are also certain attractions like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train that only offer Lightning Lane as an additional purchasable add-on. That's called Individual Lightning Lane. This whole thing is very confusing, and this was even after the time where you had to make a park reservation, and it all just felt very daunting. I can't imagine what older people who aren't as tech literate feel when people explain this whole system to them. I mean, I still don't even really get it. So what does Genie Plus cost? Well, it's also under variable pricing, so it's going to change day to day. But during our trip, we paid $23 per person, making it $46 for both of us. So after purchasing the privilege of something we used to get for free, we booked a few attractions for later in the day like Pirates and Haunted Mansion. But throughout the afternoon, the wait times were consistently long pretty much everywhere. I mean, 75 minutes for Little Mermaid, 90 for Thunder Mountain, 80 for Jungle Cruise. I do not like crowds at all. I don't like standing for long periods of time. This is all very uncomfortable for me. So we really didn't do all that much. It was really bad. I didn't even get to do the People Mover. We walked around, we did Country Bear Jamboree, Hall of Presidents, and Carousel Progress. By this point, it was time for lunch. We went to what I consider to be the best quick service restaurant in the park, Columbia Harbor House. We got chicken strips, clam chowder, and a grilled shrimp skewer, all of which were pretty good. All three items came out to be $31.70, which isn't too bad for lunch, but it isn't great. We did find a nice seat on the second floor and watched the enormous amount of people flow through Liberty Square. And then through the rest of the day, we didn't do much else. Though, to be fair, that was kind of by choice, as I just didn't want to stand for an hour and a half in a queue. In the meantime, Emmy wanted to get a drink to keep her awake, and a little snack like a classic popcorn. We stood in line at the Joffrey's Coffee Shop in Tomorrowland, where Emmy got a regular-sized vanilla cold brew. That was a staggering $7.20. Not much better was the popcorn, which came out to be $5.50. As we walked around the park, we knew that we had one attraction that we really wanted to try, and that was Tron. Tron Light Cycle Run is the newest attraction at the Magic Kingdom, a launch coaster which was first announced all the way back in 2017 and finally opened here in spring of 2023. Regardless, instead of
the only thing that I would ever beg people to buy for me was pizza from the pizza place at Disneyland. The Pizza Port. I fucking love the Pizza Port. Inject Pizza Port into my veins, please. I love the Pizza Port so much.
doing a traditional queue, since it's a new ride, Disney has you join a free virtual queue on the app either at 7 a.m. in the morning or again at 1 p.m. We missed the 7 a.m. one, but tried to get a boarding group for the 1 p.m. one. We did this while in the waiting area at Hall of Presidents, and despite waiting on the app right at the 1 p.m. dot, I guess it just didn't work, or they distributed them out already? I don't know. But that left us with one other choice. The evil choice. We had to purchase the individual lightning lane, as that would be the only way we could ride it. On the app, it shows what the price for the attraction will be.
She looked so sad.
I thought it was already calculating the price for 2 people, but no. To ride this attraction, it would be $20 per person. So, we paid $42.60 to go ride Tron later that evening. What? $42 for a 60-second attraction. That is a hard pill to swallow. Regardless, we got off right when the fireworks show was starting up. Thankfully, Disney has brought back Happily Ever After, and I honestly did miss this show and seeing it from within the park. It was pretty nice. It was by far the happiest I had been all day. In fact, the whole park and experience got a lot better once the sun went down. But it was now time for dinner, and we booked reservations at a table service restaurant called Skipper Canteen, a relatively new restaurant that opened in 2015, and I've heard really good things. The restaurant itself is really well themed, and the cast members are great. The food, however, was really nothing special. Emmy got 2 appetizers for her main meal, shrimp and rice along with a seasonal soup, while I got the chicken. Emmy's soup was really good, but she didn't think the shrimp was anything special, nor did I with the chicken, as I found it to be a little bland. We also got a chocolate banana dessert, which was pretty good. The total before tip came out to be $67.63, and after tip, well, you'll be floating around the $80 mark. Honestly, Disney food, especially table service, is often really good. but I think I found this to be a little overpriced for what we got. So this whole dinner was definitely not worth it. Once we left the restaurant, it was around 10 p.m. We had also snagged a Space Mountain Lightning Lane that evening, but it apparently broke down right before we were about to board. Despite receiving a Lightning Lane for any attraction, it was cold out, it was still busy, and I didn't feel like walking across the park again, so we just decided to leave. And that was our day at Disney. It was nice to be back in some ways, but the park was just far too busy to actually have an enjoyable time. Then again, Magic Kingdom has never been my favorite park, so I don't know. But I bet you're wondering what the damage is. To tally this all up, I'm going to only include the one-way fare for the Mears bus to the resort, as the full round-trip cost would be the total cost for an entire trip. And for this, we're just taking a look at a slice of a full trip. So when we add everything up, the hotel, the park add-ons, all the food, the total cost for a single day at Disney for 2 adults came out to a jaw-dropping $886 USD. That was pretty surprising to me that it collectively cost that much, especially since I don't always remember it being that expensive. And that got me thinking on what historically this same type of day would have cost in another time. So I picked a random modern year like 2017. A period of time when I was visiting the parks a lot. I calculated what the exact same experience would cost us in 2017, just having to substitute menu items from 2024 for similar food selections then, since some of them didn't exist. So the exact same trip in 2017 would have cost a total of $567. That's almost a $320 difference between 2 trips. That's a 44% increase in just 7 years, far outpacing inflation, which is around 24% since 2017. Now, a few things jump out at you when you look at this too. Obviously, some of the free offerings like airport transportation and fast passes were free. That alone is another $155 extra for 2 people. So yeah, doing a Disney World trip has gotten a lot more expensive. And remember, this is without buying additional merchandise or any other snacks or even magic bands, which used to be free, but are now like $35 for some reason. To be fair though, there are many ways to reduce costs. For instance, you can bring your own water and snacks into the park, so you can easily go without buying anything. $280 for a hotel is already pretty decent for the area. We could also stay at one of the Flamingo Crossing hotels for as low as $130 a night. There are just so many other ways to trim the fat off your vacation if you're trying to get frugal. There's many tips and sites out there that will help you do that. Now, that $886 is just for one day of a trip. But the truth is, most people are going to buy multiple day packages. So the more days you add with tickets, the more of a discount you get. So let's take a look at what an entire trip would cost for a hypothetical family of 3. 2 adults and 1 child spending 6 total days at a resort and 4 days at the parks, along with all of the established food and drink costs, plus all the basic Genie Plus add-ons. With that, you're looking at around $4,000 for Disney's ultra-cheap all-star music resort, $4,567 at Port Orleans, where we stayed, and around $5,688 at a cheaper deluxe resort like Beach Club. All of these resorts were priced out with a pretty decent discount, and this is all without some optional extras like Park Hopper. There's also Magic Maker, their photo service for $185, and other special ticketed events like dessert parties and holiday parties, and even a dining plan. And this is all during some of the cheapest times to stay at some of the resorts. And if you want an actual nice or luxurious room of any kind, that 6-day trip becomes a lot more expensive, especially if you add more people, upgrade your food, and just anything else. But even if you expand our actual trip out to the hypothetical 6 days, we'd be landing around the $4,375 range with everything all in. That gives you quite a bit of money to go pretty much wherever you want. In my previous video, I priced out a trip to the French Riviera for just $3,462. Even when you tack on food, it's still cheaper than this. Same if you want to go somewhere really out of the way, like Bali. I've calculated that that would cost you right around the $4,660 range, plus you get to stay at this incredible villa at the Maya Ubed Resort. Even if you want to do something Disney, you can easily get a week-long Disney cruise for that, even on the Disney Fantasy in a balcony.
Yeah, and then bitches are like, have kids. You're doing society a disservice by not having kids. Like what? So they can beg and cry and scream at me to take them to Disneyland where I have to spend $1,000 a day when I could just go somewhere else. But unfortunately, I have kids. Sorry, I accidentally closed Chatterino. Thank you so much, Battle, for finishing the dono goal. I really appreciate it. Like, bitch, I'm not a multi-millionaire. Yeah. Like, shit, dude. I'm not rich like Battle. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Battle, though. Dude, that's so sad, though. Like, imagine all those poor parents who could have went on, like, a really nice vacation and instead had to go to fucking Disney World because their kids wanted to go to Disney World. Sad. Truly. Just so they can have a meltdown because you won't buy them something. I want the Mickey Mouse ice cream! Disney has a $115,000 private jet fueled vacation package, by the way. 24 days. What? Private jet adventure? Stop. Oh my god. We have Mickey Mouse ice cream at home. It's not the same! That's why going to Disneyland in the later part of the day is great. All the kids start dropping and the families fuck off. Yeah. Honestly, yeah. I sometimes I think to myself, like, maybe a Disneyland trip, and I remember that there are kids there, and then I'm like, never mind. I would like to go somewhere where there are not kids for a vacation. That would be much better. Looks like some people didn't pass the Mickey Mouse test. Yeah. We get to jet set around the world on our private Disney jet.
Cabin. So after spending all of this time and money for this video, finding out what Disney really costs these days, yeah, it's difficult to justify how expensive the whole experience has gotten, especially for me, as I didn't even really enjoy my day at the Magic Kingdom. But after I answered my own question on how much it all costs, and pretty much came to the conclusion that it's not worth it, I can't help but think that nobody seems to care if Disney is just staggeringly more expensive than it used to be, all while removing perks that used to be free. At this point, there basically is no
It's not that people don't care, it's just that they can't do anything about it. Like, I bet a lot of these people feel like at the end of the day, even though the prices are insane, they have really no other option for their family to have a fun time on vacation. Like, that they think this is the only option, right? Like, they think about it like, well, my child wants Disney and I'll give them Disney if it costs me an arm and a leg. Like, they're willing to accept it, not because like they're like, oh, that's fine, we can deal with the prices, because I'm telling you, most people cannot afford these prices. This is not normal pricing. I'm sure you guys know that. I don't need to tell you that. There's just really no alternative. That's just how capitalism works. Yeah, people pay a ridiculous amount of money for things because they can't get it anywhere else for cheaper, because that's how the market works. Disneyland has better public transportation than any American city. I went as a part of a foster kids program once, chaperoning little kiddos. Genuinely, it was one of the most impactful things I've ever done. Those kids are so sweet in the face of so much hardship. Just about the only time I've enjoyed spending a whole day with a pack of kids. Yeah, definitely. I just think it's like sad how these companies exploit parents and their love for their kids to make money. You know? Like, they feel like bad parents if they can't take them to Disneyland, when it's like becoming increasingly more difficult to be able to afford to do so.
Argument to be made for Genie Plus and the elimination of FastPass. It is simply anti-consumer, as are these steep price hikes. But the thing is, the park was packed with people. So I guess most people just eat the costs. And I mean, it shows. The parks division of the Walt Disney Company, not the entire corporation, just the parks, generated a truly unbelievable $32.5 billion in fiscal year 2023. It is the largest profit center for the entire company. But at the end, I really am frustrated by this whole thing. I remember hearing or reading Len Testa from Touring Plans say something along the lines of how a family should be recommended to purchase Genie Plus and just accept the 4 or 5
Disney daughter or anarchist son? Anarchist son, of course. The Disney daughter would be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you didn't get me the $500 Disney sweater for my birthday." Meanwhile, the anarchist son, I could just like make him an anarchy symbol patch and he'd be like, "Oh, sick." Like, just like take a white piece of fabric and draw an anarchy symbol with Sharpie. Like,
$500 extra cost to a trip, because if this is your once-in-a-lifetime family trip to Florida, then yeah, it's probably worth it if it allows you to experience the park at its very best. But boy, is it frustrating to see Disney make something that used to be free, generate tens of millions from it, and give no extra value in the parks. I think we've gotten to a point now where it's just too much. Yeah, there were 600 million people in the park with me that day, but there is a narrative that's sticking on how Disney World is just out of reach for many families. And I'm now seeing very brand loyal people break ranks and complain about the consumer squeezing. I think it's very important that when companies unapologetically make anti-consumer choices that affect the most budget-conscious people, it's an important thing to make your voice a legitimate concern, especially when it makes a place that you love going to a lot harder to do. And that's what I've found personally with this. I really do love the Disney parks, but I'm not willing to put up with the huge price hikes and this convoluted system where I know there are better places for my money to be spent. The value proposition.
what are these? You're telling me people are dropping, what did you say? $600 for this? You better bolt those things onto your fucking head. Permanently. They sold out almost immediately. Guys, I gotta start a business where I sell Mickey ears.
Of the parks is not growing along with the price. If anything, it's getting worse. So I would really suggest looking into what else you can do with your 4 or 5.
I have an idea. What about anarchist Mickey Mouse ears? They'll sell like hotcakes.
$6,000, and all of the places you can see and do with that kind of money. Thanks for joining me on this very deep dive, and I really am curious to hear your thoughts on the state of Walt Disney World right now, and if you personally think it's worth the money. I genuinely don't know how I feel. I don't want this video to be taken seriously negative. I guess I'm more sad than anything else. So please do leave a comment and tell me what you think. I also mentioned that there are some luxurious and premium hotel offerings aside from our hotel, and we did in fact try out a few. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're interested in hearing my honest thoughts on them. But until then, my name is Jake, and thank you very much for watching.
Disney Jazz. Steamboat Willie is out of copyright. It will work. What? Steamboat Willie? Who is that? Steamboat Willie, Steamboat Willie, Steamboat Willie, Steamboat Willie. Steamboat was the character that became Mickey Mouse. BBL Mickey, BBL Mickey. Juicy J, thank you so much for the dono. Let's go. BBL Juicy. Thank you, thank you. I could get a BBL with that amount. Maybe on a discount. I kind of want to watch one of the flesh simulator videos, but I don't know where to start. Oh, this one. Oh, this
Police
one.
raided the
Okay. This one looks interesting. Serial killing for fun and profit. A history of Project Delta. Project Delta.
Recently, there was a documentary series called Quiet on Set released about the dark world of Nickelodeon sitcoms. One of the revelations in particular involved the conduct of a producer by the name of Brian Peck. It was quickly discovered that Peck was a pen pal of the 1970s serial killer John Wayne Gacy.
Dude, this is like the thing that I was talking. This is like the one thing that I was talking about when everybody was talking about the Quiet on Set. I was like, guys, he had a John Wayne Gacy poster or painting, and he showed people it and was proud of it and wrote to him in prison. I remember I was telling everybody about it.
It has very little to do with the rest of this video, apart from the fact that it's topical and resulted in the search down the rabbit hole that we're about to go on. This is not a cheerful video, and for obvious reasons, consider yourself to have been warned.
Yeah, like, I'm not even an active true crime girly, I wouldn't say. Like, I'm not really, like, active, but I definitely used to be, like, a big true crime girly where, like, I would just spend hours upon hours just, like, listening to YouTubers tell stories about true crime. And as a result, I, like, know so much true crime stories. And I still do, but it's not, I don't know. Like, I listen to things like, you guys know Rotten Mango? I really like Rotten Mango's videos. It's just more so, I don't know, I used to like be in the true crime community where it was like people would talk about like the most prolific serial killers. So people would talk about like, you know, like Richard Ramirez, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy. So as a result, I have like a lot of knowledge about them that I didn't really sign up for. You know, it's just like people just for some reason are obsessed with those specific people more than they are with like other people. So as a result, they're kind of like talked about a lot more often. But I actually usually don't really give a shit about those people because it's like they're talked about so often that it's boring for me. I don't really like I'm like, yes, I've heard this story a million times. Like I know what they did and how their life was before and all that stuff, whatever, like next one. You know what I mean? But some people like get really stuck on certain killers, which is really weird. I'm not like that. Like I'm not like, oh my god, like I love this one guy. I don't. It's just more, it's kind of like storytelling for me. Like I like learning, I like listening to the story and like hearing what happened, and then I like move on to the next one, you know? We get desensitized. Yeah. Any fellow Robert Picton heads? Like the fact that I even recognize that name is problematic. Like even like I don't know, like I remember the other day I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw this lady like who was like filming her like drive up drink stand, and it was like snowing and late at night, and my immediate thought was like Israel Keys, but I was like, there's something wrong with me. Like I need to lay off the true crime. Because with Israel Keys, but the Israel Keys case is fucking terrifying. This guy rolled up to like, you know, like how there are those like barista kiosks that are like not really a coffee shop, and usually there's just like one person working there, and it's just like a bunch of like, you know, it's like a coffee shop, but it's not a coffee shop because of the fact that it's like a kiosk. He rolled up to a girl who was working and ended up kidnapping her, but like the way that he did it was like it was caught on camera, but they couldn't see like what car he put her into. But basically, like, oh, the story's really fucking scary. But anytime like I see like one of those kiosks now, I just think about Israel Keys. Like, I'm like, this guy like saw a girl working at one of these places and successfully kidnapped her from her job, and it's just so scary. Like, it's just so bone chilling anytime I see a kiosk. I'm like a drink kiosk, I'm like, no, run. Like, oh my god, I don't know.
Hey, hold on. Why are we talking about John Wayne Gacy all of a sudden? I thought this was going to be about the guy from the last time, like the eyebrow guy.
Bikini baristas? I don't even think she was a bikini barista. Let me see. Samantha Koenig job. Yeah, it was just a regular coffee booth in Anchorage, Alaska. She was 18 years old. Ugh. Yeah, but what happened was he like kidnapped her and then like, you know, did a bunch of bad stuff to her and then ended up killing her. And then he decided that he wanted to get ransom money from her family because like they were looking for her. And so because he wanted ransom money, he was like, he came up with an idea to take a picture of her to make it look like she was still alive, to get the ransom money, you know, like, oh, like she's like, what he did was he like sewed her eyes with fishing wire open and then like took a newspaper from that date to prove that she was still alive, and then like took a picture of it. And you can actually, this is the fucked up thing, is it's a real picture. Like you can look it up. It's online. Oh, it's so fucked up though. You're gonna be looking at a dead girl. Warning, like she's literally dead. But yeah, he basically did that, and then he ended up getting caught because of it. Like, long story short, he ended up getting caught for that. So, and I think, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think he was like trying to like withdraw money from. It was when he was trying to get the money from her family is what got him caught. But she was just one of many of his victims. And the crazy thing is, the whole time he had a wife and a kid, and he was keeping that girl's body in his family home shed. It's horrifying. Yeah, it is really horrifying. Yeah. Obviously, don't look up the picture. Like, I'm not telling you guys like go look it up. Like do it. Like, I'm saying, like, it's just like, I've had the unfortunate circumstance of seeing that picture before, and I could probably never get it out of my head. Like, it's so bad. Like, yeah, but anyway, it's just, I feel like, even though, you know, you could say like maybe I might have been desensitized to that kind of thing, I don't think like that like altogether like people talking about true crime and stuff is necessarily like bad. I think it's bad when people are like idolizing, like, you know how like it seems like like that guy that he was just talking about, Brian Peck, like idolized John Wayne Gacy. That's when it's weird, right? But I think it's like an average human reaction to be like, I wonder why somebody would want to kill another person, you know, to be like curious about it. Like, it's like normal for somebody who would normally never kill somebody being curious about somebody killing somebody. You're like, why would you do this? And you try to understand, and then you end up realizing that there is no reasoning. And you're like, oh, they're just crazy. Like,
Michael Aquino. Because I need to give a bunch of background information. I need to involve like a bunch of characters in this, and like so I can dramatically tie them in later. Like, hush. Between the years of 1973 and 1978, a Chicago man by the name of John Wayne Gacy proved the stereotypes about clowns to be correct by becoming, up to that point, the most prolific serial killer in American history, immediately beating the previous record held by the Houston mass murders. However, Gacy was something of an outlier amongst serial killers. While serial killers typically tend to be antisocial or asocial, drifters, uneducated or poorly educated, aggressive, and frequently unemployed or underemployed, Gacy was widely loved by his community, due in part to performing as a clown on holidays and at, birthday parties. He was civic-minded. He was a college graduate, somewhat passive, successful. He was, a manager of several KFC franchises in Iowa. Later, he owned a small business running a company in Chicago called PDM Contractors. Gacy was also a very active member of an organization known as the Junior Chamber of Commerce, or the JCs. This was a leadership and politics organization targeted at young professionals to facilitate networking and honing political skills. Famous JC's alumni include Bill Clinton, Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, serial killer Edmund Kemper, and Bill Gates. The Chicago JC's chapter is known for having a strong connection to Chicago politics and the Chicago Democratic Party, of which Gacy was also involved, at least at an organizational level. However, this all goes to show you that you cannot trust clowns, because he sexually assaulted, sometimes tortured, and then killed about 33 young men and buried the majority of them in his crawlspace. In prison, after his arrest, he claimed to not have operated alone, and said that he had help with the logistics of the killings and that he had recorded videos of many of the murders for distribution. In addition, at least one of the murders took place while he was confirmed to have been out of town. Now, unsurprisingly, it's pretty hard to argue your way out of finding even one dead body in your crawlspace, let alone more than 30. So the official stance on these murders is that Gacy acted alone with no accomplices. The good old lone wolf serial killer pornographer. Let's turn our attention now to Houston, Texas, and the mass murders of the same name. Between 1970 and 1973, at least 28 boys and young men were kidnapped, tortured, sexually assaulted, and murdered by this guy right here, Dean Corll. Corll was born in Indiana and moved between Indiana and Texas several times through his childhood and adolescence. In 1962, at the age of 22, he returned to Houston, where he would live for the remainder of his life. For the next 8 years, there's little to note of Corll's activities apart from reports of, sexually inappropriate advances in behavior towards young male employees of his candy company. But in 1970, though, Corll would crank up the dial on the murder meter with the aid of teenage accomplices Elmer Wayne Henley and David Owen Brooks. For every victim that they led to Corll's apartment, Corll paid them $200, or about $1,600 adjusted for inflation. Well, for $1,600 I can understand. When questioned by his accomplices, what the boys were for, Corll told them that he was part of a ring based out of Dallas that bought and sold boys, and trafficked in drugs and snuff films. Following this revelation, the reaction of Henley and Brooks was more or less like, yeah, okay, whatever. Corll also claimed to the pair that he wasn't doing the killing, he was just selling them to people to be killed. Which, I'll be honest, is kind of like a weird thing to lie about. It's not better. It's not an improvement, but before long, Henley and Brooks began to assist with the murders themselves, too, which I guess isn't terribly surprising. Corll's killing spree only came to an end after he was himself killed by Henley. Henley brought over two of his friends to Corll's apartment to hang out and smoke pot and drink beer and sniff paint, but wound up enraging Corll due to the fact that one of the friends he brought was a girl. Henley explained that his female friend just needed to get out of her house for the night because she was afraid of her drunk father, which seemed to calm Corll down a little bit. God damn, her dad must have been drunk to have it be preferable to have her be babysit by Dean Corll. But anyways, just to skip to the relevant bits, Henley wound up shooting Corll, confessing to be an accomplice to the murders, relaying what Corll had told him about the Dallas ring, etc. The police initially did not believe Henley about the other victims, though, and only wound up looking into what he was saying after he was able to recall the names of 3 missing Houston area boys. Now, Corll was posthumously charged with the murders of 28 people, although Brooks and Henley both insisted that there were more victims whose bodies had...
Why did he pronounce it like that?
Into what he was saying after he was able to recall the names of 3 missing Houston area boys. Now, Corll was posthumously charged...
Is that how it's pronounced? Posthumously? I thought it was posthumous. What? Oh. Guys. I am not okay. I'm learning today that I know nothing about the English language. Do you condone posthumous? Yes. I consume hummus. I consume hummus. I love hummus. I say it the way he does. I don't know what the right pronunciation is. I always thought it was like posthumous. Like, but posthumous. Posthumously. What? He's got to do it again. Say the funny word.
3 missing Houston area boys. Now, Coral was posthumously charged with the murders of 28 people, although Brooks and Henley both insisted that there were more victims whose bodies hadn't been recovered. However, the Houston Police Department wound up calling off the search for bodies after the 26th and 27th bodies were found tied together. This is believed to be due to the fact that up until this point, the U.S. KDR record was held by Juan Corona with a 25-1. And once that was, once they'd beaten that, it's like, okay, fuck the rest of them. This was highly criticized due to the fact that no fewer than 42 boys and young men vanished from the Houston area between 1970 and 1973. Meanwhile, in Dallas, on August 13th, 1973, only 5 days after Coral's death, police raided the apartment of a certain John Norman after receiving a tip about a possible homosexual prostitution ring. John Norman was at this point 46 and had already accumulated a pretty sizable pervert rap sheet, having been arrested in Houston for sexual assault in 1954, 1956, 1960, in California for sexual assault in 1963, and in 1970 was convicted on federal charges of distributing obscene material and sentenced to 15 months in prison. Following his release in 1971, he set up the Odyssey Foundation, the sex trafficking ring for which he was being raided, in media res. Following the raid on his apartment, police found photos and contact info for teenage boys, along with catalogs intended for distribution to clients. These included photographs of the boys, referred to in the literature and also hereafter in the video as fellows, that you could pay to sponsor in exchange for 2 to 3 days of company. Additionally, the Dallas police found a client list of his, consisting of a filing cabinet full of about 30,000 pink index cards, with between 50 and 100,000 names of clients, along with their contact info and sexual preferences. These were then passed on to the State Department for further investigation. Oh, so they went on and, arrested all the clients sponsoring the fellas, right? Haha. No, of course not. They declared the index cards irrelevant to the investigation and then burned them. As a side note, in 1977, a Dallas police lieutenant named Harold Hancock testified that the client list included high-ranking government officials and prominent public figures and celebrities. So I guess they've just always been like that. As a result of the raid, Norman was charged with possession of marijuana, contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and conspiracy to commit sodomy.
Oh my God.
He was then released on bail and immediately fled to the great state of Illinois, in particular Chicago. Now, it seems like I'm jumping around here, but bear with me. These threads connect. In 1975, there was an investigation undertaken in California into a potential distribution network for, how should I put this? The worst type of film you can watch. 8mm starring Nicolas Cage? Close enough. What wound up being uncovered by the bust included video taken of the torture and murder of at least 11 of the victims of Dean Coral, mixed in with an enormous array of photographs, film reels, film negatives, contact sheets, Polaroids, slides. Now, this isn't important, but there's something darkly funny about the concept of someone choosing to document a murder on slide film. So does that mean, the operation has a darkroom and, a film development tech? You can't take that to a lab.
I told him you got a meter for the blood, not for the skin. Now I gotta do this shit again, god damn it.
Anyways, this adds quite a lot of credibility to Coral's claims of a Dallas-based operation dealing in human trafficking and distribution of snuff films. Back to Norman. After fleeing Dallas and moving to Chicago, he began living under a different name, Steve Gurwell, because it was the 70s and you used to just be able to do that. Following getting that sorted out, he immediately went and molested at least 10 teenage boys. By November, and keep in mind, he left in August, late August, early September. So by November, the cops were, on the lookout following multiple reports of a Steve Gurwell moving in and starting to molest everyone around him. On the 14th of November, Norman was arrested and charged with 5 counts of indecent liberties with a child and 8 counts of contributing to the delinquency of a minor, and taken to Cook County Jail. From what I can find, a little more than 2 years later, he had his bail of $36,000 paid by someone in California and was released awaiting trial. Now, I'm going to take the next 2 paragraphs from Wikipedia verbatim because, they're accurate for once. In December 1976, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison and sent to Pontiac Correctional Center. Shortly before he was released on bail, Norman began his next sex operation, the Delta Project, like from the name of the video, and began publishing a newsletter called Hermes. From Cook County Jail, Norman sent out 3 newsletters using the jail's printing press, claiming the Delta Project aimed to provide educational, travel, and self-development opportunities for qualified young men of character and integrity, and that Delta dorms were being established across the U.S., with each dorm having 2 to 4 cadets overseen by a Don. Let me repeat that. He was publishing the kid sex newsletter and catalog from prison. Good God. Anyway, police alleged that the cadets were underage male prostitutes recruited in Chicago. Yeah, no shit. In a May 1977 interview with the Tribune, Norman denied that Project Delta was sexual in nature and claimed to have sent the newsletter to over 7,000 people. At the time of the interview, police said the newsletter had 5,000 subscribers and grossed over $300,000 per year. That's a lot in 1970s money. And also, if it's not sexual, why are people buying a newsletter? You usually have to unsubscribe from those. You can't even give those away. Norman was paroled in the fall of 1977, but was arrested again in Chicago in June 1978 for having sex with 2 underage boys from a local foster home and taking pornographic pictures of both. One of the boys informed investigators that Norman was in the process of selling him to a client, and Norman was simply waiting for his plane ticket. Norman was accused of refounding the Delta Project, now called the Creative Corps and MC Publications. Norman was accused of refounding the Delta Project, now called the Creative Corps and MC Publications, after being released from prison and operating it out of his apartment on West Wrightwood Avenue, allegedly sending photos of the... Oh, fuck, that scared me. Allegedly sending photos of the boys to a Don in Canada. In a raid of the apartment, 20,000 more pink index cards, or possibly 50 to 100,000, containing the names of customers, were found.
Yeah, so this is like the Hassan stream from earlier. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
In 1977, while Norman was still imprisoned, the victim who testified against Norman, leading to his conviction, was stabbed to death while walking home. The primary person of interest in this murder is the next moving part to come into play, a man by the name of Philip Paskey. Paskey was
I'm standing on business, actually.
Career criminal and sex offender known for his proclivity towards violence. He worked as the manager of MC Publications' mailing operation and took over the whole operation temporarily while Norman was in prison. Paskey was described as being Norman's closest associate and second in command. He was also described as being, quite tall with bad skin and a pockmarked face, as well as having a tendency to cross-dress. He also had a tendency to inexplicably not go to prison, despite a very long criminal record, with charges for things ranging from drug possession to assault, to illegal fireworks, to assault, to assault, to assault, to murder. It doesn't appear that he ever actually spent any time in prison, even for the murder charge, which he successfully pled down to a robbery charge. He robbed him of his aliveness. He was only sentenced to 5 years probation, so yeah, that's kind of weird. Alright, now back to our buddy Pennywise. Recall that John Wayne Gacy ran a contracting business called PDM Contractors. There are a couple of interesting names that pop up when you look into his employees. Number 1, Michael Rossi. Rossi was an employee of his that was implicated in his testimony as a possible accomplice to the murders and who admitted to helping dig the trenches under his house used to bury the bodies. Rossi's maternal grandfather, however, was the famously or infamously mob-connected Chicago alderman Vito Mazzullo. Corruption? In Chicago politics? Given Gacy's strong ties to the Chicago Democratic Party, this is an interesting connection, given the possibility of mob involvement in distribution of content. Next up, let's look at another one of Gacy's employees, One Philip Paskey. Oh, from like a minute and 38 seconds ago. Yep, Philip Paskey was not only employed by PDM contractors, he also lived with Gacy, and was reportedly one of his closest friends. Additionally, according to witness testimony, when together with Gacy, Paskey was the one calling the shots and seemed to be in charge. Alright, now on to what you've been waiting for. The man of the hour, or at least the man of the previous video, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino. I touched on the Franklin scandal a bit, but let's take a quick look at Johnny Gosch, a missing boy whose kidnapping was allegedly orchestrated by Michael Aquino. Paul Bonacci, who won a $1 million civil suit against Lawrence King, pointed to Aquino as the supposed ringleader of the operation, and eventually wound up meeting with Gosch's parents to provide them with information relating to the kidnapping of their son. Specifically relevant here is that one of the people involved with the actual kidnapping itself was a man by the name of Troy. Let's hear his description of Troy, according to the court testimony. Interesting. That rings a bit of a bell here. Let's take a look at a composite police sketch of Troy from the investigation of a different kidnapping in which he was believed to have taken part, and that Bonacci immediately and very confidently picked out of a lineup. Huh. Looks like Philip Paskey. Oh, from like a minute and 38 seconds ago. Okay, let's move on to the last and, quite frankly, weirdest piece of the puzzle. We have an explanation for how Gacy may have been connected to the mob. We have an explanation for how Gacy was connected to Norman. We have proof that Gacy was connected to Paskey, proof that Coral was connected to Norman. But is there any connection that Norman had to the Dallas mob? Well, let's take a look at one of Norman's rental properties and see if there's any notable Dallas mobsters who lived there. God damn it! Yeah, that Jack Ruby. Turns out, Jack Ruby was a pretty well-known Dallas area mobster, having connections to both the Dallas and Chicago mob, owning a nightclub and having a reputation for being able to put people in contact with those who can supply what they wanted, whether it be drugs or fellows. Alright, so where was John Norman at the time of this? Oh, Dallas, I guess that makes sense. Let's see, did Ruby make any notable trips near the end of 1962? Oh, Houston. Awesome. When did Coral move there? Oh, of course, a couple months earlier in 1962. Side note, he also made a stop through New Orleans on the way, which is repeatedly referenced in the Paskey FOIA files as being mentioned in the same breath as Chicago, Dallas, and Houston in regards to this trafficking ring, but I don't really know what the deal is with that. I'm still looking into that. Alright, so this gets into the area of just conjecture at this point, but I wonder if there's anything notable that Jack Ruby did that he would prefer to go to jail for and be known for, and not talk about ever, as compared to going to jail for some other things that he did and being known for those things. It seems like a pretty good way to ensure that someone sticks to the story if you just find someone where the reality of what they actually did was notably less popular. So, what happened to the various involved parties? Where are they now? Well, Gacy was arrested in 1978 and executed by lethal injection in 1994. Dean Coral was killed at the scene of his crimes. Coral's accomplices, Brooks and Henley, were given life sentences. Jack Ruby went on to do something unrelated and then got hit with the cancer ray before he had a chance to testify. John Norman would continue to keep distributing the same sort of material throughout the 80s before being arrested again in 1987. In 1999, the state of California declared Norman a sexually violent predator and committed him to Atascadero State Hospital with a statement from his psychiatrist saying, "John is an unrepentant adult male sex offender who, in my opinion, will go to his grave without any remorse for what he had done." He remained at Atascadero until 2008, when he was released. Now, what he did next might shock you. He was released and immediately went and started trying to download illegal pornography, and posted a classified ad seeking a young male roommate for companionship and sex, and got caught passing a sexually inappropriate note to a young-looking male grocery store clerk. Following this, he was recommitted to Coalinga State Hospital, where he died 2 years later. Philip Paskey never saw the inside of a prison cell and died in Chicago in 1998, with little known about the circumstances. Anyways, I don't really know where to go from here other than that this is a
They're too soft on crime, brother.
weird, sad, fucked up story.
Someone needs to do something about these perverted immigrants. Oh, wait.
That like and subscribe.
What is this song? Oh my god. Dude. I want to know what that song was. And it's his song. That's his song. Bro, oh my god. Here's the link. This is so good. Dude, what? I love this man. I love him. I love his energy. It's great. It's refreshing. Like he's so unique. I love that. This sounds like Vampire Club music. That's my favorite kind of music. My favorite kind. This is funk, right? I don't know. It's funky. His video on Delaware? Oh yeah. I should check that out. Delaware. Which one is that? I went to his channel and I searched Delaware and it doesn't show. Oh, there it is. Never mind. YouTube was just being stupid. Oh, I guess apparently in the YouTube search you have to type out the whole word. You can't type out half of the word. That's why. I was thinking I could just be lazy and type out half of Delaware, but nope. YouTube said no. You must type the whole word or else. Okay, we'll watch the Delaware.
The oldest state, the second small. Delaware. The oldest state, the second smallest state. A solid contender for the boringest state. 1.8 million corporations standing on top of each other under a trench coat. See, Delaware is known for having some very peculiar and idiosyncratic laws when it comes to, like, running a business and tax stuff. The tax code is not very taxy for businesses. People still have to pay. But yeah, so today we're going on a field trip. We're going to look at some sights and sounds. The first stop, Georgetown. Nope, not that one. Not even that one, either. Georgetown, Delaware. This is home to one of the state's 3 courts of chancery. It's a holdover from colonial times, and basically it's a direct descendant of English common law. The court system is based on almost exclusively off of like historical precedent rather than ad hoc interpretations of the law or like common sense. It's just like, well, in the 1790s, we let businesses do stuff this way. Also, it pretty much exclusively hears cases relating to like business shit. So as a result, it's extremely useful for creative rulings relating to stuff like the internet or phones or digital gambling or whatever else that judges, clearly had in mind back in the 1700s. So next one is a quick one. Seaford, Delaware's second largest city. This is a clip that I recorded doing the most exciting thing that I found to do in Seaford.
Car wash.
Not beating the Delaware allegations. So this place was in the news lately for a highly divisive piece of state legislation that is, to my knowledge, still currently gridlocked, that would allow corporations to vote, like in local elections. Really not beating the Delaware allegations. So I'm no political scientist, but I think I might have spotted a problem with this idea, right? So In Delaware, it's very easy to set up a corporation. I mean, that's what the whole state is for.
Is this whole video like this? Oh my god.
But what that means is now votes cost $200 each in Seaford. So if you think this is a good idea, I guess pass it. However, I just would like to make crystal clear, just for everyone, if this happens, I will crowdfund the Seaford mayoral election with the help of my company, Free Votes LLC, and related subsidiaries. After which, I am going to seize power in like a Outer Heaven style military junta thing. And I guess we go from there. But if you were in Seaford, God help you. Or alternatively, you could just not let corporations vote in elections. Wilmington, the big city. Now, despite having something of a reputation for being a murder-afflicted suburb of Philadelphia, it's actually a vibrant and historic city in its own right. Famous Wilmingtonians include Bob Dylan's wife, the murder lawyer, the president of Latvia, the president, Aubrey Plaza. That's a good one. So walking through Wilmington is a somewhat unnerving experience, and not just because the city feels and looks and sounds exactly like GM Big City. I figured out what makes it feel so ominous. So the entire city is basically a financial district, right? So what that means is at 5 p.m., everyone leaves the office and the city empties out, and then it turns into the purge. The city also has no stores. Like no stores, no convenience stores, just an endless expanse of brutalist concrete buildings. They did not put windows on the back of the building. It feels like, it looks like Need for Speed.
There isn't even any like food places or anything. I mean, see, I've been to places like this before in California where there's like, it's like a business area, right? Like there's like a lot of business buildings, but usually next to the business buildings, there's a bunch of other business buildings like food places. And mostly because when the people who are at the business buildings get off of work or are on lunch or whatever, they have somewhere to go grab lunch, you know, like a place to go get food. Like if anybody has had a parent who was in like a corporate job, like my mom was a girl boss, so I got to see like, you know, kind of how a lot of those people would spend their day, and that's usually how it went. They would get there, you know, usually get breakfast on the way, like at like a drive-through like Starbucks or some shit, and then after they get off of lunch they go to like you know, Subway or fucking Rubio's or whatever they have available, and then when they get off, then they end up going to another fast food place. It's like corporate people practically live off of fast food, or like, I don't know. I was just weird to see like a bunch of corporate buildings and then no like fast food or like restaurant areas, because like where do they eat? Like I don't know. Do they like all like, is there like the only thing I can think of is maybe there's like cafeterias inside the buildings. Like maybe they have their own corporate cafeterias.
The video game. I don't think these buildings are 3D modeled on the inside. So like I mentioned before, Delaware is home to...
They're not eating, they just work.
A little over 1.8 million corporations, which is a rate of almost 3 corporations per Delawarean. This is due to a combination of a couple things, including low incorporation fees, registered agent services, which I'll get into in a second, a huge number of weird tax loopholes that are helpfully maintained by the Court of Chancery. So a registered agent is someone who, for a small yearly fee, will do business for another party in a different location. And by do business, I mean provide an address for service of process, aka getting sued. So like you hire someone to just have an address for you to get sued at. And then you legally get to say that you are headquartered in, you know, that place. Now in Delaware corporations do not have to pay taxes. In fact, take a look behind me at this B-roll, which I'm not in. This building is the Corporation Trust Building. It's the headquarters of more than 280,000 corporations in this country. Like, yeah, the low one-story one. A lot of security cameras. All right. It's corporations that you know and love. Some fan favorites: Apple, Verizon, Walmart, Yum Brands, Coca-Cola. Probably some like 279,995 more at least. Now, Mr. Simulator, I see you wondering, wouldn't that mean that there's no downside whatsoever to just legally headquartering your corporation in Delaware and then getting to not pay taxes? Yeah. Now I see some confusion, and it's like, well, this makes no sense. They're not even profiting off of letting them do that. They just, don't have to pay taxes. Curious, isn't it? In fact, it's estimated that between 2002 and 2012 alone, corporations avoided paying $9.5 billion in taxes just through specific Delaware tax bullshit. And then when you weigh that against, Delaware's other contributions to the country in that time period, we end up with a net value of negative $9.5 billion. So, like, given these circumstances, this scenario, like, some people, might start to wonder, like, how did this happen? This kind of seems like it was done on purpose. It kind of seems like this was done on purpose by one specific Delaware resident in exchange for personal favors later on. Ian Fidance. So as a result, I'm in favor of a national Delaware awareness campaign called Unfuck Your Corporate Tax Structure, or We Give You to Maryland.
Sorry.
On the creek with the bucket side out. I'm about to flip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right, I creep at night. Tommy right, I creep at night. Tommy right on the creek. Tommy right on the creek. Tommy right, I creep at night. Posse deep is how I creep. I'm about to clip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right on the creek with the bucket side out. I'm about to flip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right, I creep at night.
Oh, if you want the link to this here. Oh, that's a bad link. Oh, I accidentally closed it. No. Restart.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match.
Hot dog. It's Jennifer Coolidge.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first
Hot
year is what
dog.
we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
Hi, Diego.
Discover cashback match.
Oh, dude, I did that. That was bad.
Credit card.
Hi, Diego. Dude, it's so hard to. She's so hard to mimic. She's so unique. What a queen. Hot dog.
Tommy right on the creek with the bucket side out. Tommy about to clip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right, I creep at night. Posse deep is how I creep. Tommy right on the creek with the bucket side out. Tommy about to clip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right, I creep at night. Tommy right, I creep at night. Tommy right on the creek. Tommy right on the creek. Tommy right, I creep at night. Posse deep is how I creep. Tommy about to clip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right on the creek with the bucket side out. Tommy about to clip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right, I creep at night. Posse deep is how I creep. Tommy right on the creek with the bucket side out. Tommy about to clip it to the bomb, blade it 44. Tommy right, I creep at night. Posse deep is
The song is 7 minutes long. It's repetitive. I like that though. Tell me, would you rather the song be repetitive, or would you rather the song have parts that you don't like? I personally hate it when songs have portions that suck. I would rather it just be repetitive instead, you know? Dude, I wish I could make content like that, Jaina. Like, that's the type of content I wish I could make. Only way it would be better if it was sang by JoJo Siwa. Karma's a bitch. Should've known better. I had a wish. Never would've messed around. He's got an incredible vision. It's wild to me that he's only been making videos for half a year. That's crazy. Only a half a year. Okay, alright, everybody. I am having a lot of fun, but it's late, and I have run out of videos that I want to watch. I know, I'm sorry. The party is over. It's okay though. I'll be back very soon. Gonna raid the Doodle Burb. Oh my god, Doodle Burb is playing Kingdom Hearts. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Also, thank you to everybody who supported me. Without your support, I couldn't do this, so thank you. Big love. If I don't see you tomorrow, then I'll see you the next day, okay? Don't forget to follow if you haven't already. And yeah. Be kind to yourself and others, and drink water and all that good stuff. My foot is itchy! Ugh. It's on the part you can't itch! BRB, gonna go set my foot on fire with a lighter to scratch the itch. Just kidding. Okay. Bye!